They hate when you elevate. Taking them losses, I'm handing them out, yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. I'm way too fly. Yeah, I'm feeling myself. Ain't no chance I'm coming down, no. Got a soul view to myself, yeah. Why would I give it up? Why do they wanna come take my place? I work too hard for it, don't need a replacement. This my vocation. Now I got rollies all in rotation. Hop on a jet just to take a vacation. Remember the moments was trapped in the basement. Now the hard work is all taking me places. Squatting all black like we trapped in the matrix. Bet on myself and go ball out in Vegas. Living a life like I'm rich and I'm famous. Don't see the grind that I know that it came with. I ain't make it this far for myself, yeah. I had to prove to everybody else. I had to set them straight. Yeah, I had to ball, so I had to renovate. I know they hate when you elevate. The second of losses, I'm handing them out. Yeah, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment. I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly. I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight.
Sorry, I had the mute button on. Y'all hear me now? Clap it up in your clap it up for boxing, you know what I mean? We in the building, man. We in the building, man. Salute to everybody in here, man. Building this little community.
In the building. Yeah, that ranch Smoochie up. Smoochie's a great content provider. Like she's out there. Smoochie's cool. She's cool.
She's out there, okay. She's out there.
Yeah, she out there in the world of boxing, talking that shit.
Talking this shit.
She be on point, man. She's a good person.
No doubt, man. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, actually. Good afternoon. Hope everybody's doing well. Yesterday was a great day, and like literally on the back end of us leaving, I had to go out and go do things, handle my taxes, which I'm still not done yet. I got a whole bunch of anyway. That being said, some stuff started happening, right? Like all of a sudden, Twitter started going crazy, and Tank's in the algorithm, man. He's in a space. Tank definitely has a fight coming up. We all know that, not only because of the actual date that's been made, but because usually around the time he's got a fight coming up, all of a sudden you start seeing things pick up on social media, right? He starts to make his presence felt, and he doesn't waste an opportunity to get that marketing going, right? He's going to communicate in the space. You would think he has an issue doing it if he did it all year round, but he doesn't, right? He isolates it into these time periods where he has a fight coming up or some kind of event coming up. Then he gets real active. He might throw a couple of shots here and there, but generally speaking, outside of Tank having something happening, he doesn't really participate all that much in the social media as much as he does when a fight's coming on. So we'll talk about that. Tank and Terrence Crawford, they're at it on social media. I mean, Terrence is also in the space as well, as he's relevant right now, being that supposedly being this close to actually ironing out an actual date and a deal between him and Canelo Alvarez. So it's a perfect time for him as well. They're kind of helping each other out, kind of riding off the momentum of each other. Obviously, Turkey Al-Sheikh, Riyadh season, Ring Magazine, all these things at the center of it all, being that I think we're watching boxing usher into a new era. Some people are calling it a golden era, another era, a Saudi era, a UK era. I don't know what kind of era, a 50-50 era, a competitive era, whatever it is, things are moving. The energy is moving out here. And, the biggest faces in boxing are doing what they got to do to move the needle in their own value, right? Shakur Stevenson getting an opportunity, in my opinion, and we'll talk about that later as well, and on how huge of an opportunity there is in front of him and how paramount it is that he capitalizes on this particular moment in his life right now. You know, he's worked very hard to get to this point, always has shared with the boxing space his aspirations on being one of the biggest faces in the sport, has given us some lackluster performances where we, with our eye test, know IQ-wise, pedigree-wise, we know where he is, but still hasn't delivered that show yet, right? He hasn't delivered the show that he's been telling everybody on top of that he's going to deliver, right? It's been at least the past 5-7 fights saying, watch out for me. This Shakur Stevenson that you're going to see is one that you guys have been asking for and that you've never seen before. Well, he gets an opportunity. He has a real game opponent in front of him in Floyd Schofield. The actual press conference for Beterbiev Bivol 2 went by. We're going to talk about that as well. Guys, the more you get into that card, when you hear the fighters talking about what they're bringing to the table, one thing about Turki Al-Sheikh, I've been saying this since the beginning, is fighters step up their game when they get on his card. They know what's on the table, right? Like, they understand their biggest paydays, like their whole lives can change. Not only, obviously, if they win the fights that they're in, but also even if they lose, if they give the kind of performance that can impress the Saudis or Turkey or however you want to look at it, Riyadh season, if they're able to deliver those performances, then ultimately they're going to get invited back. They don't want to slack. They don't want to take it lightly. And you can hear it in everybody's voice who's speaking on that stage, whether it's Virgil Ortiz, whether it's Shakur Stevenson, whether it's Beterbiev or Bivol, whether it's Madrimov, whether it's any of these fighters that are on that stage. They understand that this is a huge opportunity to be part of this next era, this next wave of boxing coming into the space and to be part of this platform. And, you know, I got to agree with them. This is a huge opportunity. News as well, we'll talk about it as well, of Saudi Arabia's PIF fund getting ready to invest a substantial amount of money into the zone. I'm talking about a lot of money, like not just a couple of $100 million. We'll talk about that as well. Game-changing money. You can reminisce into a time period when the PBC kind of had that kind of investment put into them, and you saw how they were able to move the needle and move the wave of boxing, change it for, you know, to take us to this point right now, right? So a little bit different between what Saudi's doing and what the PBC is doing, being that Saudi literally is damn near printing their own damn money, but also it's a new business model, a new era of legacy, a new era of competitive boxing. We'll see where that goes, right? We're going to enjoy the ride as fans. We should be happy and excited about hearing that. I know some people are more so United States driven. They don't like boxing looking like it's moving away from America, and they're being resistant to that. But if you're just a boxing fan who's looking for competitive boxing, you want to see boxing be great, you want to see it grow, you want it to become the #1 sport in the world, these are the type of things you're thinking about, then you can't help but get a little bit excited as is hearing the news that I'm hearing about. And we'll go over that as well, as far as what Saudi is showing and proving. If you've ever had questions about their intentions as far as how long they were going to be in the game, what they're going to do, is it going to be sustainable, where they're putting their money literally, quite literally, where their mouth is, we're going to talk about that as well. Beterbiev and Benavidez had I'll call it a digital face-off. I don't know if that's what you want to call it, like, you know what I mean, like a face-off online. Ariel Kwani hosted an interview with those guys. That got real interesting, as it always seems to be with David Benavidez and David Morell. Look, we're 3 weeks out, guys. We're 3 weeks out to potentially fight of the year candidate that's going to be between these two fighters. It's getting more intense. David Morell's passing all his testing. How much longer can people hang on to this PED story? And it doesn't seem like it's gonna stop anything. He's passing his test. He's confident as ever. And David Benavidez, maybe he is confident. You want to say that he is confident, but he's definitely realizing also the opportunity that's in front of him and how much is going on this fight, right? Like, he's risking it all. We'll talk about that, because he was already locked in the fight against the winner between Beterbiev and Bivol. He could have just taken that fight against Jesse Hart. He chose not to. He put himself in front of what a lot of people consider to be his biggest threat outside of a Canelo Alvarez. That's what he chose for himself. And it seems as we're getting closer to the date, he's realizing, right? He's realizing that this is a real situation and there's a lot running on this, and he needs it to be understood, you know, that he understands this, and he plans on inflicting the most punishment that David Morell's ever seen or obviously received. We'll talk about that as well, and other things in boxing as well. And towards the end, we'll open up the panel for people to come up and share their 2 cents. But salute, Ray Davis. How you doing, King? How's your day been?
Man, great. You know what I mean? Boxing is wrapping around the world right now, man. It's a daily thing. It's back to where it used to be a couple years back when we got started. Salute to everybody. Salute to Ross Clark. Morell's not a bum. Just letting you know. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, this is where it's at. This is what we wanted. This is what we've been begging for. And look how we've been begging for this for what, 2 or 3 years now. And look where it's coming from. You know what I mean? It's coming from a whole side, a different side of the planet. And we owe it to Turkey for bringing boxing back. You know what I mean? And it's climbing the ladder. I mean, I'm going to give some credit to, and everybody going to hate me for this, but I'm going to give some credit to Jake Paul because he put the Americans on the map that are casuals to this boxing game. And they're coming up and they're starting to see things. So boxing is on the forefront, man. It's coming back. I wouldn't be surprised if USA Boxing and Top Rank get back on ESPN somehow.
Well, yeah. I agree with you. To a certain degree, you would think it would have had to take an outside force to change what was going on in America. And the reason being that what was happening in America was effective as far as certain people making money, right? Like, the higher ups in the PBC were making a lot of money. The fighters were making a lot of money, but without a doubt, the neglect to the fan base was on a level that was higher than ever. And you had to ask yourself, what was it going to take to change that, right? Because we have a fan base that, unfortunately, in my opinion, the boxing fan base in America, the IQ has dropped a little bit. And I don't want to knock on anybody's intelligence, but just the willingness to accept anything and not push back enough and not ask for the best fight and the best. It was almost like, why change it? If you're the PBC or if you're, you know what I mean? It was like, why change it when y'all able to sell you guys constant pay-per-views at $80 and you're going to buy it, right? Now, outside of the networks like Showtime and all these other networks that used to host boxing, pushing back at the business model because they weren't making that much money, and it just looked like boxing was going to die, right? It was dying. It became less about legacy and more about trying to get the what's the word I'm looking for, the propaganda going to build up a whole lot of energy behind fights that weren't really the most competitive fights. So, but boxing, no matter how you want to look at it, as people were getting gassed in these small boxing communities were getting gassed about what was happening in the space, the reality of it was it wasn't working and it wasn't sustainable. Right. And it would take an outside source to come in, invest the money, but not only invest the money, but not invest it in the structure as is, but bring their own structure of what they wanted it to be, bring their own players into the game and be like, yeah, we're going to invest in boxing, but we're going to change this narrative. We're going to move this in a different direction. We're going to get these fights to be way more competitive. We're going to get way better cards. We're going to be more fan-oriented. We're going to be focused on giving the fans something that they want to see as close to it as possible. We're always going to be open to doing that. We're no longer going to be bamboozling. So we're going to actually invest in our own situation. It's going to look like we're coming at the establishment as is. Maybe that's what it is, right? But let me take a moment to go ahead and do a little roll call. We got 26 people in the building. I am hoping that all you guys are hitting the like button. Let's go ahead and do a little roll call in here. Salute to Eastside Easy in the building, man. Eastside Easy in the building. Salute to 9 Fingers in the building as well. How you doing, brother? 9 Fingers in the building. Secret Dance, who've becoming one of the most consistent contributors and the engagement on this channel. We appreciate you being here this morning. One of the first guys in the building too as well. Right, we got Manny up in here, a new guy. I don't know, Manny's probably not new, but I don't know, I haven't seen you in a while. Salute, Manny. Salute to SOB TV in the building. Salute to you, King. Salute to SOB in the building here. Let's see here, going down the list. I think I saw ETB. Let me holler at him. I'm pretty sure.
He had a great comment too. Yeah, man.
Salute ETB in the building, man. Everything boxing, man. Honor to have you in the building, man. Edward Morris in the building. Salute to you, good brother. How you doing? Shout out to Smoochie. We shouted you out earlier, but shout out to you again. Let's keep going down the list right here. Tom Morris said, Tom Morris said with the Big Turk. Yeah, Big Turk in the building for sure, man. Let's see here. Mr. Big Play Bray. Salute to Mr. Big Play Bray. There's Mr. Everything Boxing I see in the building as well. Ross Clock, Mr. Your Favorite Boxer's a Bum. Yeah, man. I'm going to take this from you. Better hurry up and copyright that. You're going to see me with a shirt with that on there soon, bro. I'm trying to tell you, man. Don't worry. I told you, Roscoe, I'm going to put the hashtag in there, so we're going to get you props on that. But
right. And
shout out to the
White Champs is in there too.
Who?
Before Champs.
Before Champs?
Yeah.
Where?
Yeah, you rolled past him.
What?
Yeah, how you gonna see? He up there right behind Manny.
Right behind who?
Manny. When you shout out Manny.
Hold on a second, bro.
Brother, right there. Yeah, 152 was his time.
Oh, yo, salute to Mill City. Yeah, he said change the logo. I did, family. I did, man. I did. Salute to Mill City in the building. B4 Champs in the building, man. Salute to my brother, man. Salute to my brother in the building, man. And if I didn't catch you, 2 cents in the building, salute to you. If I didn't catch you, I'll try to catch you a little later, man. I appreciate love, man.
Word.
Yeah, Mill, I changed it. I don't know if you're still watching. I did change it, man. He been told me. I changed it up, man. I did change it up, man, for sure, bro. But yeah, man, a whole lot to talk about in the boxing space. I mean, my instincts is to go right into the drama. You know what I mean? But let's get some of the light work out the way before we get into the drama. Let's go right. Let's get the light work out the way. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then let's do this right here. Guys, let's talk about it. Saudi Arabia PIF fund investing $1 billion into the DAZN, man. And this is over the whole entire sports space in the DAZN. They're investing in everything. So I looked into it a little bit. They are definitely investing into every bit of the DAZN. But they're pretty much showing their presence in the space as far as what the mission was in the beginning, right? If you didn't know what the mission was, Saudi Arabia was trying to go ahead and attract a whole lot of traffic back to Saudi Arabia in a positive way. They were reshaping and recreating the whole entire image of the country. And they wanted to do that through sports because they know sports brings the whole world together. Everybody comes together on sports, and they made moves. You guys saw what they did with soccer. They did things with golf. They did things with tennis. They did things with Formula One racing, and obviously what they did with boxing. So they played around in all these fields, but now they made another power move, or they're getting ready to make another power move, which is they're about to put $1 billion into the DAZN. Currently, the DAZN being worth, I think, on paper, $9 billion right now. They'll be putting in an extra $1 billion on top of that, which will give them a 10% stake, right, in the whole entire space. Huge investment. A lot of boxing going to be taken into consideration with how this money is going to get moved around. Obviously, with what's going on in Riyadh season. And then you have what's going on with Ring Magazine as well, which is 2 separate things going on. I don't think people realize that Turkey's actually moving the Ring Magazine situation. That's his own personal project that he's doing. And then he's also, there as an ambassador for Riyadh season as far as what they're doing with sports over there as well. Let me ask you, Ray, like, what kind of change? Like, what is this a huge move or not? You know what I mean? Like, how big is it for what's going on with the DAZN right now? And ultimately, how's this going to affect boxing?
Well, listen, it's going to affect boxing, number one, in a positive, because we already seen the players come to the table. We already see all the different networks and different, not networks, promotional companies and promoters moving their fighters into that direction. Now, the key thing is a lot of people don't even realize that they're even tapping into American sports. They're tapping into the DAZN, NFL, NBA, some Major League Baseball. They're actually talking about putting those scheduled events on as well. So once they start crossing those lanes and they start tapping into our sports, that'll bring us over to the panel, to their channels, and watch more, from one network dedicated to sports alone. And they do have some little like series stuff and stuff like that, but I think they're going to try to move and push the sports all together. Now, the funny thing is we were talking about this Forbes magazine thing that was released. I don't want to, beat a dead horse, but they were talking about how Prince was upset about the money being spent on Turkey and spending it and investing in sports and all types of events, and they're wasting money. Why is he complaining? Why is sports putting that out? Fake news. Why? Because if you're going to invest $1 billion into a sports company, you're not crying about how much money you dumped into other sports and other events. So at the end of the day, big win for DAZN, big win for Saudi, big win for boxing in this case. And I see boxing on the forefront and headlining all these other sports and events that they're going to be posting on this channel.
Yeah, man, 100%. This is going to change a lot in boxing, man. These events, I mean, ultimately, what it means to me, Ray, I'm be honest with you, is what you've been seeing. Get used to seeing more of it. People really try to paint this picture of this being a temporary thing that the Saudi money was bringing to the sport, right? They saw Turkey. This is not sustainable. Well, you don't know what his intentions are. Well, look, there's a few things that we can see are definitely part of his intention. One of them is he is trying to bring boxing and bring the biggest events to Saudi Arabia. Now, if American boxing is the biggest thing that you're concerned about, yes, this could be bad news for you. If you are focused on keeping the biggest fights here in America, well, there is an uphill battle that's going to happen with America when it comes to this, because ultimately you're either going to come to the table and participate in this situation and work it from the inside out, or you're going to stand on the outside and try to build up this little resistance, this front on what boxing is going to look like in the future. I don't know if that involves you boycotting the sport or not watching the biggest fights that are happening in America. If this is the way you want to attack it, then, you know, this will be your prerogative to do it. But without a doubt, Saudi Arabia is going to be investing in the sport for the benefits that it brings to Saudi Arabia. The pressure to make this something that America still holds a good grip on is going to be obviously the fighters, great American fighters doing great things in boxing, becoming champions again, making legacy part of the whole entire business model, right? If you're a fighter, you know, getting belts, you know, beating champions from all around the world, this is going to help. But also, we got to put pressure on our promoters, right? We got to put pressure on the Bob Arams and on the whoever's running the PBC right now, and even on Matchroom, you know, because he has American fighters, you know, to bring these fights stateside, and that's going to be pressure that's going to show up in support. I think people first need to get on board with what's happening and support boxing growing, and then build the fan bases up behind these fighters and build the fan bases up behind these fights being made. We can't play this game any longer of fights that aren't being made here, us being okay with it, as far as fights not being made, period. Because sometimes the argument seems like that, right, Ray? It seems like, you know, Floyd Schofield and Shakur shouldn't even be fighting each other. Terrence and Canelo shouldn't be fighting each other, right? Devin shouldn't be fighting anybody. Or you guys want to get too much into their money, into their purses, and try to dictate how that goes, instead of supporting the fight happening, period. Tearing down fighters and tearing down American fighters and just supporting one fighter over the top, and, you know, having channels that just support a fighter and tear down everybody else has definitely played its part in how this has ended up turning out right now, in my opinion. But it is what it is, right? It doesn't anything. Saudi Arabia is clearly moving forward with what they plan on doing. Turkey Al-Sheikh is moving forward what he plans on doing. And the fighters who are going over there are not blind to the opportunity. They're prize fighters. They're not blind to what's happening, right, Ray? Like, Terrence is like, if I can get it here, I'm going to get it over there. You know, Shakur, same thing. All the American fighters that you see over there, that's what's happening. It's opportunities versus no opportunity. And that was something by design, by the way you guys have supported the fighters. You pushed the fighters away and made room for Saudi Arabia to come in and do this. Am I right, Ray, or am I crazy?
Right. No, you're right.
You know,
you're right.
So it's turning out. It's turning out to be a good day for boxing fans, and we'll be looking forward to see this. That being said, not everybody's happy about this, right? This is not good information. This is not what people want to hear. You know what I'm saying? That's not what people want to hear. They're pushing back at it. And, you know, shout out to Terrence Crawford and shout out to Gervonta Tank Davis and all these guys. You know, Terrence confronts Tank. You know what I mean? You guys have seen what's been happening on the Twitter thing. It happened the day before yesterday, to be honest with you. But yesterday, it got even crazier, right? Really got personal. Really got personal on the Twitter space. Everybody's talking about it. It's on every content creator channel that I see right now has this as one of the top stories. If it wasn't one of the top stories, I probably wouldn't cover it because I really don't. I don't want to act like I really don't care. But because these guys ain't gonna fight each other, right? Like Terrence Crawford is looking to fight up at 168. You know, Gervonta Tank Davis is down there about 135, fighting 130-pound fighters. I mean, they're nowhere near on a trajectory to run into each other. But it seems like it's running the waves. It is what everybody's talking about. So I guess we got to share our thoughts on it. Well, I'll start with you, Ray. First of all, what you're seeing happening right now, we talked about a little bit yesterday, but where are you at thought-wise as far as what Tank is doing right now on the Twitter space? I think it's easy for everybody to kind of point at he's promoting a fight and that he's staying busy on social media, but does it get deeper than that?
It's way deeper than that. Let me explain the difference. So if I'm promoting my fight, I'm not going to sit there calling out another network, calling out another fighter, talking, going back and forth with fighters that are in their own situations, right? I'm going to sit there and tell them, like, look, PBC doing this, blah, 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 blah. I'm here. I'm fighting this guy, blah, 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 blah. Date at this time. Tune in on pay-per-view, blah. That's promoting. Right. Hey, why don't you knock this guy out? So, no, he's not promoting the fight. And I don't know how they keep staring these narratives into promotion. The dude is obviously frustrated. He hasn't been as vocal, you know what I mean, in a long time. And yes, he gets vocal when he has fights coming up, but he usually is not as vocal with people outside of his own team. You know what I mean? He, a lot of times with Floyd Mayweather, a little bit of what Devin Haney was not in his team, but it was a little bit. But everything else was really with Floyd and other things he was saying against his opponents, right? He was always something against his opponents. Right. Now this is a whole new take that I'm seeing, man. This is a whole new energy, and it just shows that the boyhood in the gentleman. Like, and I get what he was saying now about how he has to see a psychiatrist, and he's trying to get out of his feelings. Believe it or not, Clay, the man said himself, he's in his feelings. He's very emotional over things, and he doesn't want to be that guy. And I respect that. That's why I said this Lamont Roach fight is a dangerous fight for him. Because if he's having second guesses about staying active and retiring, he's having situations where he's not happy with his team and PBC and the way they're treating him. A lot of this stuff is starting to come to forefront, right? It's folding in on him. And I don't think he can handle the pressure. And I think that is becoming more intense every day. And then when he sees something, and every person that wanted to fight him, every person that was in his division, ranked as a 4 king with him, move on, do great things, be invited to this event, and he's not there, says a lot. And he's like, yo, well, then you want 2 Ferraris? Here you go. This event is banging, bro. Like, we over here. We don't need no Ferraris. We doing our thing. Devin, who was the most trash talked fighter in the last 2-3 years, out there putting on a show in front of the British fans who came out to see him and support him. You know what I mean? Big time. Look, and I'm not trying to throw shots, right? Remember when Ali did this? Remember when Floyd Mayweather went out there but just had on like these events and people would gang up around the ring? That's what it looked like for Devin. How many people do that? When the last time you see people around a tank sparring thing, when you look at him training in the gym and stuff, we need to see media around him like that besides when they promote the fights. You don't. And I'm not saying it's like crazy and I'm not disrespecting Tank, but listen, man, people got to get in line. And then for him to call out Turkey, for him to call out Turkey, what's up, Hood Rich, and say, yo, 150, me and Ryan, you know what I mean? Right. 150 mil for me and Ryan. Right. That's crazy work. You know what I mean? I thought you wasn't going there, but hey, you never know. 150 might do it, right? And he'll jump in.
I agree with everything you're saying, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. Everything you're saying, and I'll just add to it just to say that. Oh man, I'm gonna add to it just to say, listen, man. First of all, I want to be honest. It's not a good look for Tank. It's not a good look for you because you got your own thing going on. You got a fight coming up March 1st. I mean, obviously, you would think that the energy would be focused more towards your fight. I mean, he is being confronted with questions about what he thinks is going on over there in Saudi. But look, if the real end goal is to be a prize fighter fighting for the biggest amounts of money that you can get, if that was the goal, right? And maybe I read Tank wrong, right? But from what he's communicated in the past, it was always about making the most money, being a prize fighter, damn legacy, all those things. Well, what shade is there to throw shots at a movement like what's coming out of Saudi Arabia, pumping money into the boxing space like we haven't seen in decades, right? In decades. And on top of that, giving an opportunity to where you don't have to no longer worry about these fighters that really would pad up your legacy. You don't have to worry about questioning, well, who wants to see them fight? Where's the money in that? Well, there's money in it now, right? There's an investor. And then Tank casually has responded to one of his tweets letting Terrence Crawford know, look, buddy, they tried to come at me before they came at you, right? So they gave you the respect in the beginning. They're not disrespecting, right? They didn't have a party and didn't invite you in. You were, from your mouth, you were one of the first people they invited to the party, right? But right. You needed Ferraris. You didn't want to hear what Eddie Hearn had to say. I mean, God knows the amount of hell I've caught for even like bringing up the idea that Turkey had money there for you and Devin to fight. $20+ million as a guarantee. People are like, you don't know that. You don't know that. Well, I think at this point, if you paid attention to what Tank Davis has been saying, that was proven to be true, right? Tank is just being loyal to the PBC and saying, listen, I'm going to be loyal to the soil. I'm not going to go outside of the people that are taking care of me. And in his own Baltimore way, it might come out as a little F yourself, but, you know, for all intent purposes, saying, no, thank you, right? I'm not interested in doing that. Well, that's okay. You're not interested in doing that, right? But now these other fighters who haven't been able to find that same success that you have stateside have followed in this direction to go ahead and make their biggest paydays, and now they're nut huggers. Now they're being moved by the money. They'll do anything for money. Well, last time I checked, Tank, you was in it for money. You was fighting for money. You weren't fighting for legacy. So now you're going to throw rocks at these guys for doing the same exact thing? I mean, Canelo Alvarez, for the love of God, a fighter who is a face of boxing, and he makes way more money than you, Tank. And I'm not here to count nobody's pockets, but we don't need to argue that, right? He's over there chasing opportunity, right? Because he sees what's happening. And you're kind of being stubborn, staying in your own lane, trying to make lemonade out these lemons that you're getting right now. And we know, and I believe that that's what's happening over there with you, that there's some lemons over there that you're dealing with. You know what I mean? Him wanting to retire, him showing all this, you know, indifference with the way his business is being ran. He's dealing with an uphill battle over there, right? The PBC coming off of one of the most lackluster years in the whole entire organization's history, trying to make a comeback this year. They're doing a good job so far as that David Benavidez and David Morell fight and the card there, and obviously Tank's undercard seems to be pretty good as well, and we'll see what events they got for the year. Rumors of Sebastian Fundora, Errol Spence being on the docket. Rumors of the Charlo brothers making a return this year. That's what they're trying to do over there. They're trying to rebuild ever since they went away from Showtime. But right now, at this moment, to throw all this shade at the rest of boxing, because now you're trying to paint a picture that you're not invited, it does look a little bit of FOMO going on. Looks like you got a little bit of fear of missing out. You're upset, right? And Terrence Crawford, you know what I mean, puts out the tweet, and he shares what I think a lot of people already knew, what a lot of people were saying privately, right? He came out and he said, "Looks like somebody's mad that they didn't get invited." He communicated that, and Gervonta Tank Davis takes his tweeting, takes it to social media space and starts attacking Terrence Crawford on multiple fronts, through some low blows, from what I understand. And I haven't read all these tweets because we know Tank is famous for tweeting and deleting, so I wasn't able to catch up with everything. But from what I understand, talking about his wife being overweight, talking about his children, talking about he's not aiming to be great, he's just chasing money, don't let him fool you guys, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I've heard it's gotten real personal. I've even heard the fans are saying crazy things about Tank's history, about his mother, about his upbringing, and it's gone crazy. But I think we can bring it full circle to say, Tank, it don't got to be that way, right? You can get the biggest paydays, some of the biggest paydays that you ever had. I don't know what your biggest payday is, and you can go ahead and fulfill legacy. You can fight the big fights. You can challenge yourself on the biggest stage at the highest level in the sport, and you're choosing not to. You're competing on this level right now that people are just, quite frankly, tired of at this point. Let's not hide it. Let's not play any games about it anymore. People don't think you're fighting the best fights that are out there and available for you to fight. You have your fans that are going to support it. They're going to say, yo, you guys always make it sound like this. You always throwing shot. But listen, man, the space is coming together slowly but surely, just like the voting happened this year. It's starting to change, man. You're getting a lot of people who are getting past the silliness of it all, and they're not scared to call you out. Some of your biggest fans are just like, yeah, bro, Lamont Roach wasn't a fight we wanted, man. Respect to Lamont Roach. Nobody wants to throw shots at Lamont Roach, but at this point, you're not fighting people that we believe is on your level, the level of competition that we believe you can fight. You're not fighting them, and we're not going to celebrate it anymore. And even whoever controls the money and how it gets distributed on that side of the conversation is pushing back a little bit, right? And that's what I've been hearing in the background, that the issue's been the big fights being made for the big money, right? And it's becoming a problem. And Terrence is calling it out. Shakur Stevenson is calling out. Fighters are calling it out. Trainers are calling it out. Commentators, boxing platforms, pugilists across the board are calling out the nonsense. I think it's getting to Tank a little bit. I think he's not happy with the way his fight with Lamont Roach is being received. And I think on top of that, everybody's pretty much throwing it in his face, what's happening over there with Turkey. And I think people are actually starting to apply pressure. Like, Tank, why don't you go over there with Turkey, man, so you can get a fight with Shakur, so you can fight Devin, so you can fight T.O., you know what I mean? So you can put a fight up with Keyshawn. Why don't you go over there so we can see these fight? And he's like, I don't need them. The face of boxing don't need nobody but the face of boxing. And I don't know how well that's working towards your brand at this point. Even if it is to get the most money, it seems to be like you're cutting your nose off despite your own face. You're legitimately throwing out the baby with the bathwater, right? You're not preserving it. It's hurting you right now. It is what it is, right?
Yeah, let me just shout out a few people that came in, Clay. We got Fly Frequency, Rollo Green. We got Hood Rich in the building. We got Beth the Animal. And most importantly, another close friend of ours is in the building. We got to give a shout out to the one and only, once I find it. I don't know who it is. Hood Rich. No, it was Hood Rich. Oh, Ryan Frazier in the building, too. Let me give him a shout out. That's our brother.
Salute Ryan. Salute Ryan. Salute Rollo as well. Salute Ryan and Rollo as well. Man, so it is what it is. It's moving in that direction. The fanatics are just, listen, man, there's a separation going on as well. I'm sorry. You guys can start to like boxing now. Feel free to. We love to build with you guys, but nobody's giving no more attention to this consistent and constant defending every single thing Tank does. No matter what he does, you guys want to attack everybody who speaks on it in a way that you don't find it to be cute or supportive, or, you know what I mean? Like, you find it to be your responsibility to defend every little thing he says.
I was just going to say that. It's crazy, Clay, that we watch how Javante is, right? Listen, much respect to the kid. You know what I mean? I do have a lot of respect for him. But his fans don't. Because anytime he does something wrong, right? He's like the parent that protects their kid from doing bad things. Oh, no, not my son. You know what I mean? Oh, no, he didn't. Little Jimmy didn't go across the street and throw that in your yard. It was the other kid that my son said so. No, listen, man, he's human. He's allowed to get emotional at times. He's allowed to say things that he means. It doesn't have to have a fallback because he's your fighter and he doesn't do that. He's allowed to sit in a chair with his hair and a ponytail, which is cool. And people feel that he's saucy. So what? You know what I mean? People are allowed that. But the thing is, everyone wants to change that into something else. Oh, that's not even boxing. We're not talking about that. We're going to move the needle there. But then when he goes out there and says something that you just happen to think is great, oh, he just called out Terrence Crawford. Ooh, look at this. Terrence is wrong. Tank is right. Like, we see this type of energy every day. And like I said, it doesn't benefit your favorite fighter. It doesn't. Because the real people out there that have common sense know that there's two wrongs that don't make rights, right? So we're seeing this play out in front of our eyes, and you're still on the other side saying that, oh, no, he did right, this guy did wrong. It's like what we say, a fool from, what Jay-Z said? Arguing with a fool from a distance, someone can tell who's
you can argue from a fool. If you argue with a fool from a distance, you can't tell who's who.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting. And people are just so negligent to that, man. It's crazy work.
Yeah, it is, man. And it's coming full circle, man. And my fear is I hope Tank doesn't over isolate himself out of the boxing space. I think he's such a huge talent. No matter what he feels, there's no way that I would push back against just having issues with a Turkey Al-Sheikh or the powers that be that are trying to get behind boxing, who are actually showing interest in investing in you and allowing the fan base or allowing your pride or your ego to get in front of an opportunity, not only to make money, because that's an opportunity that's exclusively for you and that's yours to take, right? But I'm not going to celebrate your money. I want to celebrate your accomplishment. I want to celebrate the fights that you win. I want to celebrate your career and yes, your legacy, right? I want to celebrate that. And I think boxing fans in general want to do that. And I always said, and a long time ago, I got into it with a certain content creator, and I said it in a closeout. I said, in the spirit of boxing, the sport that we love, I always will hope that if the fighters can, they will. And one of the biggest obstacles in adversity in making some of the biggest fights that we've missed as fans has always been the discussion of A-side privileges, across the street politics, and money. Well, now we have another element that's come into the boxing space that's removed a large portion of the issues. The money is removed. The across the street politics are being moved. You're seeing multiple promotional companies on one card now, regularly now. We just watched a press conference, which we'll get into, where there was Frank Warren on the stage. Oscar De La Hoya was on the stage. Eddie Hearn was on the stage, right? We've seen it as much as Bob Arum, Oscar De La Hoya, Frank Warren, Eddie Hearn, Ben Shalom, all these guys on the same stage. We've never seen Al Heyman, but we've seen representation of the PBC at these events. So now we're seeing the whole political landscape change in boxing to where the promotional space isn't getting away the fights. The money is there because you have an investor who's willing to put the money up, right? So I hope the fighters don't get in the way now. I hope that's not what the real issue is, because we always wanted to assume that if the fighters could, they would. That the reasons they weren't was beyond their scope of power, right? It was beyond what they could do, because in a perfect world, they'd fight everybody. But I got to deal with the politics. I got to deal with the cross-the-street politics. I got to deal with all these things. And we empathize with them as fans, like, damn, man. But now we're seeing that that's no longer a legitimate excuse. It's not there anymore. So now it's up to the fighters. And if you guys really want to fight each other, there's a way for it to happen. And you're seeing it happening with some fighters. But in this Gervonta Tank Davis situation, it does look like he's continuing to move with that whole entire narrative of putting the fans to the side, not entertaining the fans, not giving them what they want, not respecting their dollars that they're spending on his events. He's not working hard enough to make the biggest fights. He's just not doing it. He's not working as hard as he could to make the biggest fights. He's allowing these fights to move past him. And a lot of the fighters that would have been on the other side to make those big fights, they're getting over it as well, right? You see Shakur Stevenson speaking more boldly about how he doesn't need to fight him. And if you don't want to fight me, it's okay. I'm not chasing you anymore. You're seeing Teofimo Lopez looking outside. He's going towards Jerron Boots Ennis. He's going towards Terrence Crawford. He's going towards the biggest fights he can make. He's not talking about Tank anymore. You see Lomachenko walking away from the negotiation table and not taking the fight. And ultimately, without some concession from Tank and him taking opportunities that are in front of him, my fear is that we'll have to just go ahead and move on from Tank. That he'll just fight this year, whatever he plans on fighting. And we'll just have to move on from you, brother, and we'll remember you for whatever it is that you did, but we'll move forward. Boxing is definitely moving forward and heading into a direction to where there's a lot more to celebrate than to hate on right now. And hating on is not something I want to do. I want to build this platform on boxing that's happening, not on boxing that's not happening. You know what I mean? So it's what it is. It's up to you, Tank. It's up to your team. We'll see what happens next. As I've said earlier, one of the biggest things we're looking forward to in that Lamont Roach fight is the post conference where he says he's going to be calling somebody out, and a lot of people are willing to pay $70 to $80 just to hopefully hear this man say, Shakur, let's get it. You know what I mean? Keyshawn, let's get it. You know what I mean? Teofimo, let's get it. You know what I mean? Somebody. We just want to hear that you're going to fight somebody that makes sense. Even Ryan Garcia is over there right now I think he might be officially an ambassador of Riyadh season right now. If he's not, he's getting ready to be. Make a big fight. And I'm just for inside information, it's not really Ryan Garcia that everybody's looking to see you fight. So I'm sure that might be it because of the money behind it, but nobody's really trying to see that as well. You know what we want to see. So we'll see what he does. We'll see what he does, man. So look, man, Benavidez, David Morrell, 3 weeks out, Ray. The clock is ticking. It is what, January 15th, 14th?
Yes.
15th today, right?
Yep.
So we're like 2 weeks. We're like 2 weeks out.
Yeah.
We're like 2 weeks out, right?
Right.
It's getting spicy, right? Did you get a chance to catch Ariel Helwani?
Yeah. Yo, Morell's English got good real quick, didn't it? Yo, getting spicy on end of that conversation.
Yeah. It looks like David wants it to be spicy, but it looks like David Morrell won't allow it to get spicy, right? Like David Morrell has this energy about him where it's like, it's gonna be a fight, man. We fighting already on the first. Contract is signed with 2 weeks out. What you doing all this for? What's all this about? Who are you trying to convince? You trying to convince me? You trying to convince Ariel? Are you trying to convince your fans? Are you trying to convince yourself? What's all this hostility about? What are you talking about?
Right.
But I mean, he is trying to sell a fight. David's trying to sell a fight. That's his job, to sell the fight, right? But here we are. 2 weeks out, man. David
Right.
Morrell seems to be very confident. He's clearly passing. He said he had 6 VADA tests in the past 3 weeks. He's had 6 tests, right? That's pretty consistent. It's like 2. That's averaging about
This is the power right here. You gotta worry about this. That's what he told him.
Right. He's like, there's no. You're gonna find out, and I think that might be the worst nightmare, right? Like,
Clean, bro, right? You said to a point. Look, I'm clean, bro.
Yeah, I'm clean, bro. He kept it 100. He said, listen, bro, that's not happening. This is not going to be an excuse for you. And I think he's right. Just trying to say that you guys are focusing on painting this narrative that I'm this dirty fighter, but I've never failed one test in my whole entire career. But you guys, I guess, effectively have a lot of fans sitting here believing that I'm Ryan Garcia or something. Or I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm somebody, you know what I mean, who tested dirty and I'm not to be trusted. But let's be honest. The reality of the situation is a lot of people on David Benavidez's side of the conversation are having a hard time wrapping their mind around David Morrell's power being natural, right? Which is a credit to David Morrell in a way, right? They're basically saying hitting so hard. I don't know. Is that what's happening? Like, are they basically saying that he's hitting so hard it has to be performance enhancement drugs? Right. I mean, his opponents that he's fought are saying that, right? No, man, something was involved, man. I felt it when he punched me. It wasn't right. When I punched him, he was absorbing the shots too well. I was hitting him too clean. Nobody does that. What's this narrative getting painted? What's this and is it going to affect this fight? Because the more and more these conversations happen between David Morrell and David Benavidez, the more I'm leaning towards David Morrell's rent that he's occupying in the mental space of not only David Benavidez, but David Benavidez's whole entire team, right? Because David Benavidez may be super confident in himself and knowing what he can do, but the conversation is coming up so much that it's starting to look like you can tell they're talking about it a lot over there. Like they're talking about it, you know what I mean? And they're putting all this emphasis on it. David Benavidez realizing what's riding on this performance on February 1st, right? Like he didn't get the Canelo Alvarez fight, right? He's built up some momentum. He didn't have a great performance in his last performance that he had, but even though I was okay with it, understanding that he went in there with some ailments, but I was okay with the performance generally speaking. But, you know, the boxing space didn't embrace it. They felt like, oh, man, he looked real human. And I can agree with that. I think David Benavidez did look human in that last fight. And something about coming off that fight looking real human. David Morell as well, though, looked real average in his fight. But knowing the risk that he's taking, do you think as we're getting closer to the fight that he's just settling in his brain about the risk he's actually taking? Like, is it really getting that real for him at this point in the game?
Yeah. Crazy that you say that, right? I think, I think the butterflies are starting to float in this man's stomach, bro. I really think he's getting the jitters. I think he's starting to do anything and everything to make himself feel comfortable. And I told you, this is affecting his team, right? When I realized that Diego Pacheco's fighting the week before, I said, yo, Diego Pacheco might just get up. He might get beat. That's going to be an upset, right? If he loses. So I said, he might just get beat because if you're giving all this attention to your son and you're worried about what David Morrell's bringing to the table and you're really not getting your other fighter ready like you should, yo, that's a catastrophe for, like, what are you doing? That starts off the year as who's the worst trainer of the year? You know what I mean? How does that look for you? Because you're dealing with this at both ends of your hands, right? So you got one side, one fighter, one side, the other fighter, and they both got these great fights coming up. Who are you really going to help? So when it comes to Benavidez, right, we're looking at it, okay, well, Dad, you're supposed to be over here with me. Dad, this guy's got a lot of power. Dad, this, and this. Just work on your stuff, son. Just keep doing what you're doing. And he's doing exactly like I said yesterday, right? He's doing exactly what he's doing. He's doing what he's always been doing. And what did you see David Morrell do? Right? He said, that's all you got. He says, I got this. You'll see, right? So he's like, yeah, we're going to see. I don't care. We're going to see. You talking a lot. And I got it. I understand where he's coming from, Clay. And he's like, yo, this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to end up happening. And you can do that all you want, but I'm walking through that and I'm knocking you out. And I hate to say it, I got more in line with Morell and agreeing what he's saying to see with David Bennett. That energy looked very nervous over there, bro. It just don't look right.
Yeah. It is interesting. I'm wondering how it plays out, but as I'm watching it, yeah, man, I do think that David Benavidez, the more in this particular face-off, or however you want to call it, it seemed like he was really focused on selling David Morell his mediocrity, his lack of talent, or his lack of skills, or you know what I mean? Like he trying to convince David Morell that he has no chance. And David looks like I'll be honest with you, David Morell looks like he completely saw the play. And he laughed. The laughs just were the laughs of somebody who's like, you're really trying to convince me that me having my hoodie on, me clearly having a language barrier, that's why I'm not talking as good as you're talking right now. Like I'm struggling through this language barrier and I'm trying to make this happen, but you're trying to turn this into a lack of confidence in myself, a lack of ability to really end you. You know what I mean? This is not going to work. This game is laughable right now. If anything, I think David Morell is becoming more and more confident as these conversations are happening. I think David Benavidez is more and more having to settle into the reality of what this is, which is, brother, this is a 50-50 fight. And if this game plan is going to be consistent, this walking David Morell down game plan and doing to David Morell what you've done to everybody else you fought against, it's either going to be a great night for you and you're about to put the whole entire boxing world on notice. Listen, David Benavidez is in the position not only to get a championship and become an undisputed champion by fighting the winner between Artur Beterbiev and Dimitri Bivol, but let's be honest, there's an open spot right now with the PBC for a new star to be born, and they haven't signed anybody else. So this is also a lot of pressure on the PBC, right? You got Tank Davis, who's talking about retiring and leaving. You would think that David Benavidez would be the next in line over there on that roster to kind of take to be the new superstar of the PBC. You get knocked out or stopped or losing in a dominating way to David Morell isn't going to really help that situation out. I don't know what kind of business is going on in the background, but there's a lot of pressure on David Benavidez, in my opinion, a lot more than David Morell, because, yeah, David Morell can lose, but as long as he competes at a decent level, most people will be able to attribute whatever loss he takes as something maybe being a little too early. He hasn't had a lot of fights. In a lot of ways, people look at David Morell as a prospect in some ways, right? Even though he's nowhere near a prospect, but they look at him kind of the same way they look at the Schofield Shakur Stevenson fight, whereas Schofield really has nothing to lose. He just puts it all out there. If he goes out on his shield, he still has a career ahead of him to go ahead and make up and make it happen. And he'll be better no matter what at the end of this fight. David Morell, same situation. He'll be better no matter what at the end of this fight. Whether he wins it or he loses it, he moves forward in his career. He has the best resume in comparison to a lot of his peers. And if he wins this fight, he takes off. He's the next best thing since sliced bread, right? Who is he with? He's with Top Rank, right?
No, they're both with PBC.
Oh, David Morell is with PBC.
And you know what's crazy? Go ahead. I'll let you finish your talk. I got something.
You're right, because now it makes it even more intense, because the winner of this fight becomes the PBC's next focus to be the star over there at the PBC. There's a lot going on here. Go ahead, though. What you were going to say? So I'm glad you said that, because I heard, I'm hearing settlements of people saying that because the PBC really put this together, which they did not. You know what I mean? Yeah, they're hosting the fight, but this is a brainchild of Turki Al-Sheikh telling them to fight, right? About a year ago in February. Say, y'all need to get this fight on. The winner gets Bivol Beterbiev, right? Did that not happen? They both moved up. They both made their fights, their debuts. Then they met up, a whole 6 months later, they're meeting up to make this fight happen. And guess who gets the winner of Bivol Beterbiev? The winner of this fight. So basically, this brainchild that he put together and he worked the magic on, everybody giving credit to the BBC for this happening? No. BBC didn't want this fight. They wanted them to fight Gypsy Hart. You know what I mean? This is a whole different parallel move, and I wouldn't be surprised if any one of them stay there, especially with Turki being so having so much leverage over these boxers. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying so much. Let's change the word leverage. So much grace from these boxers and respect, where they're willing to go work with him at a drop of a dime. So, man, you're gonna see some good boxing this year. Did he say that? Did he say this is a year for boxing? Okay, I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, no, listen, there might be some plays going on in the background. I feel exactly where you're coming from. There's some plays happening in the background that people might not be taking into consideration. Because once again, like you said, Dimitri Bivol or Artur Beterbiev, that's there. That's coming from their stable, accessing, their resources, because their managers, for all intent purposes, are damn near working for Turki Al-Sheikh at this point. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on when it comes to this. It's a deep conversation, right? But just keeping it focused on the fight, just to say we're 2 weeks out to seeing potentially a fight of the year candidate between David Benavidez and David Morell. They've had their last face-off. David Benavidez still seems very wired. He's wired real tight. You know what I mean? He's tied real tight right now about this fight and how imperative is that this fight goes a certain way. And David Morrell just seems relaxed and quite confident in doing what he normally does. He was asked a question about how important this fight was, and is David Benavidez, like the enemy, or I can't remember the words he wanted to say, like, oh, is this personal, was the question. And he said, no, this ain't personal at all. He said, this is boxing. This is what I do. This is just, right. I don't know what's wrong with this guy's man. I don't know why he's making it personal. I don't know why he's going into these spaces, why he's talking like that. But whatever it takes for him to get himself up for the fight, do that. We're going to meet up February 1st. David Benavidez seems to believe that the only way this fight works out for him is if he makes it gritty, if he pisses David Morrell off, if he gets that mental leverage on him before he goes into the ring. He wants to throw him off his game. It doesn't look effective. It looks like the fight is going to be a fight. No matter how he paints the picture, it's going to be a fight.
Yep, exactly. 100%.
100%, right? So it is what it is. Let's move forward, man. I wanted to tap into Terrence Crawford conversation a little bit, right? Gervonta Tank Davis spoke about something I thought was kind of significant. I wondered about it, and I thought about it. I said to myself, you know what? He's kind of right. But is he right? So let's present the question, right? Terrence Crawford. Is he fighting Canelo Alvarez looking for a payday and not legacy? Can both these things coexist in the same space? And I mean, let's be honest. Terrence Crawford is up until this point, as far as I've known him to be, has always been a legacy fighter, always chasing belts, always chasing unifications, always chasing undisputed, always chasing to fight the best in any division he got into, and not getting paid as much money as he probably thought he deserved to get paid. Right. So letting you know that the payday didn't necessarily drive him as much as the legacy, but he is in a different chapter in his career right now. And he's pushing hard for this Canelo Alvarez fight. A lot of people want to say, why is he unifying with 154? Why is he trying to fight? If he's trying to really be a legacy fighter, why isn't he doing all these things that legacy fighters do? And I said to myself, well, this is legacy. This Canelo Alvarez fight has got to be a legacy fight, right? By a pound for pound face of boxing, of the best, the biggest star in boxing today, potentially, in Canelo Alvarez. I gotta feel like it's legacy, but we can't eliminate the payday. Where are we at this point with the way Terrence Crawford is moving? Is it just the payday? Is he really just chasing to go fight money that he can't fight anywhere else, that he can't get anywhere else? Or is there some can there be a little bit of legacy intertwined with this? Can they coexist in the same space?
I mean, let's be honest, Clay. They can both coexist, right? But once you set up your legacy, aren't you allowed to become a money-driven fighter at that point? Once you become a four division champion and you already submitted your name in the history books of Hall of Fame status and being talked about as one of the greatest fighters in the divisions at a certain point, aren't you allowed to go start doing stuff to make money to solidify your passing of your career? So when you're out of boxing, you're sustained and you're able to recoup all the money and enjoy yourself. That's what I thought. I mean, I thought that's what hard work was for, right? You do the hard work so it pays off later. And that's what it looks like he's doing. So if it is what it is, right? Well, no one's complaining about you telling, and I'm not saying you generally, but no one's complaining about complaining about being a money-driven fighter, right? And when people talk about it, they get pushback. Oh, he don't need the belts. He don't need the belts. Floyd didn't need the belts, but then Floyd shows a whole table of belts, right?
Right.
Every time you see that picture of Floyd's belt, what is he celebrating?
Legacy.
He celebrates his belts. He don't celebrate the bag. He don't hold a bag of money.
Every now and then he hold up the bag.
No. He'll carry a bag in the video. But
no, he literally has a picture where he's sitting in front of a table, the same way he's sitting in front of the table with all the belts. He has a picture with I think $1 million literally stacked on the table.
That's the rapping line. That's the rapping line, Floyd Mayweather. I'm talking about the box.
It is what it is.
Yeah. I'm just messing with you, but no. Okay, so if he did, you know what? Fair is fair, right? But at the same time, he always talks about his belts and how he's a champion. He don't talk about, the money brought me here to become a champion. He goes, no, I became a champion in this division, this, and this. I dropped the belts and I keep moving. I got another belt. Why? Because he was building his legacy. And then as he built his legacy, he was able to recoup all that money. He became Floyd Money Mayweather after he beat a certain fighter. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say his name because it rhymes with Oscarine. But anyway, once he beat a certain fighter, he became Oscar. Yeah, Oscar Reed. Yeah.
After Oscar, he became money, or was he money? Did he go into that fight?
I think he became Money Mayweather when he took the title from him. He was still pretty much.
That famous video where he's throwing the money at the camera inside the ring, and like it's Money Mayweather's money.
Yeah, right. He was the face boxer. He changed his whole game, right? So it's okay for these things to happen, man. Hey, I'm all for that. But he built that legacy up. He beat everybody in front of him. He beat the best of the best from the lower divisions. He moved up and challenged a bigger fighter and beat him. And then he kept going. So, hey, man, you got to give respect what respect is due. And if that's what Terrence is doing, I'm all for it. I don't throw no shots on people like that, on people doing what they have to do for money, man. And it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, you're not going to enjoy it all, but you can collect it all and enjoy your life while you have it. And if he's going to do that with his legacy, hey, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, listen, man. I've always said there's chapters, you know what I mean? In these fighters' careers, there's always chapters. There's like that prospect chapter where you're trying to earn your name. Then once you earn your name and you become a contender, now you go into your championship bag where you want to separate yourself from the prospects. You want to become a champion. Then once you become a champion, you start to want to separate yourself from other champions by unifying and beating the other champions. Then once you become unified, and you become undisputed, you try to do it again in another weight class. But after that, ultimately the prize fighter part comes, right? Normally, like the last 3 to 5 years of a career, of a boxing career, where you see the fighters trying to make the biggest fights possible, where they've already earned their respect. They're already undisputed or unified in so many divisions, and they're not necessarily trying to prove themselves in that area as much as they're more focused on the money. I've always said when it comes to Gervonta Tank Davis, like it seems like he hasn't had the legacy chapter of his career. He's never had a point in his career where he's tried to like really be like, I need to unify, I need to do this, because it seems like as exciting of a fighter as he was, that he was able to kind of like build his legacy on the back of giving the fans the most exciting fights, which is part of your legacy, to be a fighter that's always giving these exciting fights. But he's never had any push or any fire under him to do what we see this man in the screen right here is doing, with all these belts and the Ring magazine around his waist and unifying and becoming undisputed. So for Tank at this point to throw the shot at him and say, listen, he's going over there to make money, don't let him fool you guys, I would say I don't think he's fooled nobody. I think everybody knows that he's going to fight Canelo for a bag, right? I think there's legacy in it. I think two of the best boxers in the era that they're in, Terrence Crawford being a pound-for-pound best fighter in the world, and Canelo Alvarez being the biggest star in boxing, as well as a celebrated fighter who has plenty of Ring magazine belts. He's undisputed in his own right, unified in other divisions. He's done multiple things in the sport. Both these guys have their legacy solidified. Yeah, they're going to go make money. And the reason they're over there to make the money is not because they can't make the money over here because of anything outside of, there's no money over here to be made like that. Who has the bag to give these guys that money? Who has the bag to pay Canelo? Even Canelo's over there trying to make it. Are you saying Canelo is only going over there to get paid? Right? Like at the end of the day, it's prize fighting, something that you've always you hung your hat on, you hung your sweater on. You know what I'm saying? You've always said that prize fighting is the name of the game. All your fans know it. They tell us all the time. Whenever we talk about legacy, what do they say to us, Ray? He's not a legacy fighter. He wants the biggest bag. Isn't that okay? Yeah, you're right.
Does that put him in the Hall of Fame? That's the question. Claire, I just want to shout out a few people for entering the room. I want to shout out LaRon Jones, who just entered. I want to give a big shout out to Champ Ross, who also said he sent you an email.
Yeah, he did. I gotta respond, man. I'm sorry, Champ.
Right. And also, we got to hit the horns for our biggest voice of YouTube boxing, Mr. Thomas Hill, in the building. When you ready?
There it is right there. There
you go. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I thought it was interesting for Tank to kind of throw a shot at that. It is what it is, right? But moving the needle to the next topic. Go ahead. You want to say?
Before you jump off that, now is it hypocritical to the fans to apologize for that question? Because all his fans, like you said, make all these conversations about Tank don't need this, Tank fights for money, Tank is that. But now, are they going to sit there and complain about Crawford going for the bag at all? And also, I did send you a private chat. Crawford's got a little video out. I don't know if you want to share that. But anyway, crazy work. Because since we were on the topic, I sent you the private chat. It just came out. Just got uploaded.
No, that's an old video.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool, no problem.
Let's video. He actually put that video out. That was a response to Gary Russell. That when he was talking about Gary Russell, because Gary was talking about how he slapped him, and that was an old video. They just putting it out.
I missed that one. You're right, because I don't think he has braids no more. But all right, let's keep it moving. Right. My bad.
Yeah, man. Is it fair? I think that's another interesting part of this situation. Listen, I've talked about this, and now I guess I get to stand on some I told you so. Taking I told you so stance, but I told you guys these fighters no longer care about what the American boxing fan thinks anymore, especially, and I don't want to be crazy, but the Black American boxing fan, you know what I mean? The urban Black American boxing fan no longer holds the weight. These fighters don't care about what you say. They're so used to you tearing them down and throwing shots at them. They don't care. So is Terrence Crawford fighting right now, waiting for some sort of accolades and celebration by his community, the people who hate him and the people who've been talking down on him and dismissing his accolades and making excuses for every single accomplishment he's made, whether it's Errol Spence being in a car accident, whether it's him cherry picking fighting fighters and not fighting whatever fighters that Errol Spence fought, or whatever excuses that guys have come up with to actually discredit this man. He's gotten over it. He's found another demographic, another community, another space that's willing to celebrate him for what he's done. On top of that, pay him for what he's done. And he's gotten past the silliness of it all. He's got a family that's way too big to be looking outside of his circle, to be looking for validation from outside. No, he's validated by Bomac. He's validated by his wife, by his children, by Shakur, by Andre Ward, by other Hall of Famers, by the pugilists and the pundits in the sport that understand boxing. He has enough celebration. What he wants right now is to get his money, and he wants to go and build his life. He's already built his legacy. He wants to build a bank account that matches that legacy. He wants to be intelligent, and he's doing that. You know what I mean? It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? He's no longer caring. So is he doing this? And now is it fair that they give him his respect? I guess it would be fair, but is it expected? And more importantly, is it needed? No, it's not needed. Right. You guys have hurt your credibility. You guys have become a bunch of fanatic fanboys who spend every single day building content around one boxer. Nobody believes you. Everybody already categorized most of the fans here in the States. You're either a Devin Haney fan, or you're a Tank fan, or you're, you know what I mean? And they listen to you with those ears. Nobody is listening to you guys. Nobody, including me. I don't listen to you guys at all. So I'm just being honest, right? I'm not even trying to laugh, no joke. I just don't listen to none of you. I wouldn't know what you said or what content you've created. I would have no idea. I would have no idea, right? Because at the end of the day, it's coming from a certain perspective. There's a certain narrative behind it. I've entertained it all. I've been everywhere, and I've come to my conclusion. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who share the same mindset. The Terrence Crawfords, the Shakur Stevensons, the Devin Haneys, the Turkey Al-Sheiks, the Eddie Hearns, the Bob Arums, the Oscar De La Hoyas, the Virgil Ortizes, the people who never show you guys any type of attention, know that you guys aren't to be taken seriously, and you move no needle. And they've taken away the little leverage that you have. They've taken it away, and they've taken boxing somewhere else. So now you cry every day about how boxing is losing and how American boxers aren't how American boxing fans are sellouts and how we're letting Turkey take it. Yeah, we're not letting him take anything. We're glad letting him take it. We're asking him. We've been asking him. If you're a real boxing fan, you've been asking him to take it. You've been asking him to remove this whole entire nonsense narrative around boxing so we can see competitive boxing. We're losing nothing. We're winning everything. Clearly, you know what I mean, what's in the dark will come out to the light. You guys just aren't real boxing fans.
Right. And shout out to Big Sarge and Sonny August. Sorry, not Sonny Augustine. Sonny Augustine for entering the building. Shout out to you guys. And Clay, hey man, listen, if it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander, right? Man, that's all. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, push it as long as you can. For all those guys out there, push it as long as you can. Enjoy it. Push it. Yeah, we'll do what we do. You know what I mean? We'll celebrate it the way we celebrate it. And I'm excited. I can't wait when Turkey Al-Sheikh put out that statement saying that this is going to be the greatest schedule of boxing ever. Bruh.
Wall salute.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what that looks like. I'm trying because I'm here. Yo, I just can't wait to see what it looks like, right? It is what it is, man. So let's go ahead and move forward onto this press conference, man. We can start with the stars of the fight, man. It is what it is, man. February 22nd, we're about a month and a little bit over a month away from seeing this card come together, considered to be the greatest card we've ever seen in our lifetime. That's what people are saying. I've got to think about it, but I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's hard for me to argue against it. It's a crazy card. And if you watch this press conference, it made you realize how, like, if you didn't really realize it, seeing them all on the stage, and there was fighters getting interviewed, I'm like, oh yeah, oh hell yeah, he on here, I forgot, oh hell yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you almost forget about how crazy this card is going to be. But look, the stars are Beterbiev and Bivol are having a rematch here. We saw how the first fight went, super competitive, truly probably could have went either way. A lot of people walked away from this fight feeling like Bivol won this fight, which is probably why this fight is happening, just because of how split it was down the middle as far as people thinking who won and who didn't win. But, you know, going into any fight, Ray, you always think about the adjustments, right? Because somebody won the fight and somebody's lost the fight. The guy who's losing the fight can't expect to just do exactly what he did in the last fight to win it again. It didn't work the last time. It probably won't work this time. But also the guy going in with the victory can't think that he's going to go in with the same game plan 100%, because you're assuming that the guy in front of you is going to adjust. So you're not going to be looking at the same fighter necessarily. But these guys are up in age, right? They're up in age. And that whole saying, teach an old dog new tricks, starts to come into play a little bit. How much adjustments can truly be made by these fighters? Who has the most space to make the adjustments? Between Beterbiev and Bivol, what kind of adjustments are you looking forward to and get into the going into this fight?
I think we find ourselves with Bivol coming out in the first couple of rounds, kind of setting up his go-to, right? I think he comes out, he fights the fight, he fought a little bit to get the settings of Beterbiev. Beterbiev is going to be like, yo, this is exactly what I wanted you to do. Yes, I'm going to continue to do what we did last fight. Thank you for coming out in this because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a mind game. Thank you for coming out like this in the ring and showing me this way you're going to fight me, the same way you fought last time. And I think Bivol goes to the back foot and he changes it up to what we know him to do. Be that back foot boxer, use that jab, utilize the side and the lateral movements and the angles to fight Beterbiev. I do think there's going to be some adjustments made. As far as Beterbiev, I think Beterbiev is just the fighter he has. He's like, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm just going to continue to do what I've been doing all this time. Why do I need to change? So, you know what I mean? That's how I see it.
Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately the person who has the most adjustments, in my opinion, I don't see them adjusting but so much. I mean, I just think Beterbiev has more space to adjust. I believe that he just wasn't 100% himself in that fight, as well as people talking about what Bivol was. Beterbiev was the one coming off the surgery. He's the one who had the last fight postponed because he had to recover from it. And in my mind, I would think in his mind, there had to be a little bit of reservation on being too athletic in that fight, not putting too much pressure on that knee, not moving around. He had to really see if it was going to make it with Bivol's movement. I expect him to come into this fight a little bit more confident with what he does, with what he brings to the table, a little bit more confident on his ability to cut the ring off, a little bit more confident in his ability to actually box and be athletic in the ring with Bivol, where he looked like in the first fight, he was more so allowing Bivol to kind of dictate the pace a little bit, and he would turn it up at the end of the rounds, right? Like he would kind of like pace himself out throughout each round, but towards the last 45 seconds to the minute of each round is when he'd turn up. He'd turn up and add the pressure, especially in that last 30 seconds. And a lot of people thought that he stole rounds with that mentality, that he legitimately stole rounds. I think what you're going to see is Beterbiev do a lot what you saw in those last 30 seconds. He's going to do that probably for the majority of the round, like at least more than half of the round. You'll see Beterbiev apply more pressure early in pushing Bivol, testing the conditioning, forcing Bivol into fights that Bivol doesn't want to be into, as Bivol's trying to escape and move and use his athleticism to keep this fight at a certain distance and stay out of those crazy melees. I think Bivol will get more pulled into these melees, and I think it's probably going to be his demise. You know what I'm saying? At the end of that, when he's ultimately just finds himself fighting with Beterbiev instead of boxing him and get himself in trouble. Now, as far as Bivol's ability to adjust, listen, man, I thought he did almost everything he could do in that fight. I mean, a lot of people thought he won this fight. They thought he lost his fight on the back end of the match, basically allowing Beterbiev to take the last 2-3 rounds of this fight. They feel like that's where he lost it at, right? So would you advise or even look forward to him making adjustments from the beginning of this match to the end of this fight? Or do you think, because he's talking differently now, right? He's speaking more about being more aggressive, punching on Beterbiev a lot more. He's even talking about potentially stopping him, really feeling like he doesn't want to go to the judges. But that sounds like a formula for disaster. What do you say?
Listen, I think he's the faster fighter, the more sharper puncher. I think he has the ability to do so. Making an aggressive approach can be the way to do it. But I think he does come out a little aggressive. I think he steps off the gas a little bit, let Beterbiev walk into his like I said, his jabs as he moves backwards. And then he ends up, because he was catching with some good shots, even though he was losing some of those rounds right at the end. He's catching with some good shots. But guess what? Now I think he goes and turns it up a notch. I think he's capable of turning it up. I mean, the last fight he had before Beterbiev, I forgot the guy's name, the replacement, he KO'd that dude, bro. Like, he literally stopped that guy, and that guy was walking around like a zombie. So I could definitely see him I know he has enough power to stop him. I just think he's more of a fighter that likes to box. He's a boxer. You know what I mean? He's not a power puncher. But I can see him making the power punches to do so. I mean, he does have the power to do it. So we'll see. You know what I mean? It's all talk right now. So we'll see when it's time for action.
Yeah, man. I think the guy who can make the adjustments are obviously going to make the difference in this fight. And I think it's going to work for Beterbiev to adjust. And I think it's going to work against Bivol if he adjusts, if that makes any sense. I think in the last 3 rounds, if he just wants to stay consistent and make sure he takes those rounds, that's a good adjustment. But if he changes his game plan too much for what he did in that last fight, I see that making it easier for Beterbiev to ultimately get to him. Because
he was.
Right?
I'm sorry, Corey Pounder. Yeah, I think he caught a lot. Yeah, he caught a lot of those shots, but you know what I mean, he did. It was still aggression. The aggression of Beterbiev is what won that fight, because regardless of catching him or not, you know what I mean, it was an onslaught of what was coming. But I still think Bivol won as well, 2 cents. So I'm with you on that. But hey, you know what I mean, a lot of people thought that. At the end of the day, hey man, it was a good fight, and I can't wait to see the next one.
Yeah, man. It is what it is, man. We'll see what happens on that one. Moving forward, a big announcement made. It looks like this fight is official, man. It looks like Conor Benn versus Eubanks is official. They're looking at an April date. Turkey saying the undercard is going to be history making. You know what I mean, that he has for this fight. I guess they'll be headlining this card, or maybe I don't know if they headline. I would assume they're headlining. Anything to be excited about with this fight? I'm excited.
Listen, another fight that they can have in Wembley. That's a sellout. You got 2 legendary dads with two sons coming up over there. They'll be they're legends in England. Oh, shout out to Boxing Kangaroo in the building. I meant to.
Kangaroo's in the building?
Yeah, yes. Shout out to Boxing Kangaroo.
To my guy from down under.
Yes, sir.
Yo, Boxing Kangaroo, you guys have been shining so far, starting the year off with Opatai, and now you got Cambosis getting into certain conversations right now, but obviously, you know, you took an L with Liam, but you know, Australia seems to be making a statement here. So salute to you. I didn't see you in here, but salute to you 100%. Go ahead. My bad. Go ahead.
Yeah, no doubt. But I just think that with these 2 combatants in the ring, I think this is a turn up for England boxing. You know what I mean, or the Brits. I think this is a real turn up, and I think this is another event that we can see some great fights on. I think we watched Devin Haney. And this is just me just throwing stuff out there, doing his performance out there. He got a crowd reaction. They like seeing him over there. I think Shakur was a little happy with the I mean, he'll be in a fight, so he won't be coming back that soon. But him seeing that type of reaction, they could possibly all be on the same fight card, maybe later after April. This just talks of right now. But man, this is just, we got a lot of American fighters that may be fighting in England, man, on some big cards over there. And they may be the headline, or this could be the headline. I'm just saying, it's one way or the other. We're going to have a big card.
Yeah. That's a big card, big fight. I don't know what the weight class is going to be yet. I know that Eubanks competes at 160. He's in the conversations of, I know he can go up as much as 168, but I believe he's in the conversation of trying to fight the champions there as far as Hamza Shiraz. And well, no, he's not a champion yet, but he'd be fighting Carlos Adames for his title, and then ultimately trying to fight the Janabecs and of the division, you know, the champions that are in that division, the Arizlandi Laras, et cetera, et cetera. That's where he seems to compete at 160. He was talking about potentially moving up to 168, but I would see this fight probably happening at 160, maybe with like a rehydration clause a little bit on Chris Eubanks a little bit, as Conor Benn would be coming up from 147 to compete probably at 160. I would think this fight's going to be at. This fight is going to have a lot of ramifications on it. A lot of history behind it, obviously, as you mentioned, with the fathers and everything of that nature. And these guys really hate each other. Conor Benn is such a fireball, bro. He's just so intense. And so especially when it comes to this particular conversation of Chris Eubanks, he wants to hurt this guy. And this is one of those fights that I want to see off the strength of how much they want to fight each other, right? There's legacy there just because of the family, the bloodline issue, right? But Chris Eubanks doesn't seem to care to want to fight him as bad as Conor does. It just seems like Chris Eubanks has the pressure of his father's legacy on his shoulders, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'm not scared to do it. I'm not going to run away from this fight. I don't think this fight means anything in my career. I can't get no belts. This kid is not in my weight class. Y'all just want me to fight him because of what our fathers have done. And I don't think Chris Eubanks, if you really pay attention to Chris Eubanks, it doesn't look like he's all about his father's business as much as Conor. Right? Like he's legitimately separated himself from his father at this point. You don't even see Chris Eubanks Sr. around Chris Eubanks Jr. like that. He doesn't seem like he's about the business of his father. But when it comes to Conor Benn, he's all about the business of his father, Nigel Benn. Go ahead. You want to say something? Oh, okay. No doubt. It does seem like he's all about his business. It seems like Conor Benn's all about his father's business. He wants to have the same belts that his father has had. He wants to beat up the fighters that his father was supposed to beat up. He's all about his father's business. Very similar to George Bush Jr., right? All about his father's business. It's going to be an intense fight based on that. That edge that he's going to bring to the table is going to, it makes, honestly, you want to, like my brain wants to favor Chris Eubanks in this fight because he's the bigger fighter, the better resume, done more in so many ways in the sport, being that Conor kind of got stalled up with the performance enhancement drugs accusations and everything like that. But you can't help and you can't factor out Conor Benn's heart and his determination to handle his father's business, to do his father's business. This fight's going to be a great fight, man. And I think when people watch it, the end product will justify the means, right? It'll justify what all the hoopla was about. Because where people think that this fight is mainly just about Conor Benn, about Nigel Benn and Chris Eubanks Sr., I think you're also going to see a very violent fight of the year candidate in this fight, guys. I think this fight is going to be a fight of the year candidate. They're going to fight the living daylights out of each other, bro. Conor Benn is going to do everything he can to hurt Chris Eubanks. Chris Eubanks, by the third, fourth round, is going to have to, I think you'll see him start to take this fight very, very, very seriously, because he might be sleeping on Conor Benn's ability to really bring up that power from 147 and really hurt him at 160. And I think he's going to find out very early. Within those first 2 or 3 rounds, he's going to find out that Conor's throwing punches with a lot of bad intentions, that he's a lot faster, a lot more athletic, that he has great footwork, that he's not as easy to hit as everybody thinks he is, that he actually has great head movement. And I don't know who's going to win yet. Like I said, I'm probably leaning towards Chris Eubanks to win the fight with my head, just on paper, statistically, but we can't count out Conor Benn's heart. We can't count out Conor Benn's heart and what he's trying to bring to the table. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm going to continue to move the needle. I know Ray's handling some business in the background. So let's move on to Shakur Stevenson's press conference appearance as well. Shakur Stevenson showed up at the press conference. You guys, if you don't know, Floyd Schofield didn't show up, right? Supposedly Floyd Schofield is dealing with some passport situations. Signatures on a signature page was missing out of the passport. Schofield seems to be leaning towards foul play, potentially some inside work being done to sabotage his ability to get out there to England by ripping out the signature page. He thinks it's part of the game to throw his mind off of fighting Shakur Stevenson. He's assuring everybody that this is not going to throw it off. I wouldn't expect this to throw it off, right? He has enough to deal with. He has already enough to deal with just fighting against Shakur Stevenson. I hope that wouldn't affect him, but it is what it is, right? He didn't show up to the press conference. Shakur Stevenson showed up to the press conference with a lot. Listen, and he seems very determined and understanding. And as I told you guys earlier about these Turkey al-Sheikh cards, it brings out the best in these fighters. These fighters always understand what's on the table when they get on a Turkey card. And the question was asked to Shakur Stevenson, like up front, and quite frankly, just, are you aware of how huge this opportunity is and how much of a difference this is going to make in your life if you're able to give that right performance? He says, without a doubt. He says, as a matter of fact, he wants to steal the entire show. He wants the show to be about him. He wants, when the whole event is done with, that Shakur Stevenson is on the top bill of the conversation. How do you feel about Shakur Stevenson's position, mentality going into this fight, and also how important it is it for Shakur Stevenson not only, like as we said before in other conversations, to win the fight, but win it in the right way?
I think this is all about action, man. I think Shakur is capable of doing so. I think his style of fighting is perfect for what Schofield does. I mean, it can lead into some situations, and we all know that, leaping in, the headbutts, things of that nature, and being very super aggressive. But I think this is exactly what Shakur wants. This is Shakur's like, look, I did this with Oscar Valdez, same type of fighter. Little guy puts his head down, he moves forward, and he just swings for the fences. Guess what? Seen this, done this, I'm about to knock you out, and I'm going to stop you because I've seen this before. Maybe a little faster with his shuffles and his feet as he approaches Shakur. But listen, man, it's all about timing. And I think Shakur is going to definitely make a statement. Rather, he still has a spotlight. It's a great card, Clay. It's hard to say so, man, especially when you got those two dudes that we just talked about 2 slides ago, right? Bivol and Beterbiev being the headliner, and them 2 dudes right there giving us the fight they gave us last time, which was a split, pretty much a split decision. It's going to be hard to steal the spotlight, but with a first, second, third round KO, Shakur can. So, he's going to put it past him.
Yeah, Shakur Stevenson definitely has a lot on the line. One thing that I noticed is Shakur, man, and I'm going to highlight this right now. Or bear with me here. Let me see if I can get it up here. I don't know if I have it in here or not. I should have it in here. Do I have
it in the picture? Go ahead.
Huh?
You can see it in this picture right here.
You see it, right? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Here we go. Boom, boom. Let's see if I can pull it up here, man. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Open. Is it going to let me? Is it going to let me? Yeah, I want you guys to pay attention to this picture right here. Look at Shakur Stevenson's hands. Now, clearly we know he had surgery in his right hand, and when you look up there, you can kind of see the scar right there over that top knuckle. And you can kind of see where it's swole. You can see that he's been inside of the ring punching probably his whole career, right? His whole career, what you're looking at on his hands here is probably a whole career worth of just injuries or him just fighting through a lot of adversity in the ring with his hands. That's going to be the question going into this fight, guys. Is going to be Shakur Stevenson's, the integrity of his hands, right? His ability to go ahead and deliver what he's saying he's going to deliver is going to be based on his ability to have healthy hands. Now, he's had surgery on that right hand. We've heard that he's had injuries that he's dealt with in his left hand. Looking at this picture right here, Ray Davis, where are you at mentally just looking at this picture? Like, it's like, this is something I never paid attention to with Shakur Stevenson.
Right. So
he's had pretty boy kind of image about him, but when you look at those hands, if you eliminate his face, you take away that smile and you take away the pretty boy features that everybody looks at when you look at his face, what do those hands tell you about this kid?
Tell you he's a fighter, man. My cousin down in Philly, man, that's all he told me. Get them knuckles rolled up, man. I tell you, when I tell you this dude used to have us punching the board, bro. Like, I don't know if you ever punched a sandboard, but he had us punching the board to get our knuckles all tight. I mean, when he was training us, I know exactly. He used to show us knuckles. Look at my knuckles. My cousin was crazy, though. I mean, he's a nutball. But he used to let us know, like, your knuckles got to be a certain way. So you can knock somebody out. And that's what he used to always say. And when I see that picture, it just brings resonation of that back into my head. And I'm like, yo, look at this. This is exactly what my cousin was always telling us when we was kids, how you want to bestow that that knuckle to that chin and drop somebody. So that's what's up. Truth in the building. What's up? What's up, Jose? For real, for real. That's my brother, man. I'm calling you for an appointment too. Your little man got little braids done, so we're gonna get that hair trimmed up. But yeah, man. At the end of the day, for real, man. Like that's what it's all about. Clay is this is what fighters' hands look like. Sugar Ray hands were similar. Tommy Hearns' hands were similar. Marvin Hagler hands were similar. Floyd even had some knuckles. You know what I mean when he balls his fist up. Floyd's hands is a little smaller. This dude looked like his hands was punching concrete all day because his hands just look like they just swollen. But at the end of the day, hey, that's what boxers' hands look like, man. That's what's dope.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Secret dance move. That's what it's all about, man. I don't know. I would like to think that his hands are going to be healthy in this fight. And that's what going into this fight, though, I'm going to tell you the truth, is going to make the biggest difference. You got to ask yourself going into this fight, Shakur mentally and his pedigree says that he can deliver the fight that he wants to deliver, but the integrity of those hands are going to make the biggest difference on his ability to deliver on that. And when you're looking at his hands and you're looking at the scars on his hands, you're looking at the callus on his hands, you see somebody who's been working hard his whole entire career to be who he is today and to be where he's at today. And that maybe a couple of stumps in the roads and adversity with the injuries to his hands have stopped him from delivering those performances that he's needed to deliver in order to be the star that he's been anticipating and wanting to be. He says he wants to be recognized as the best boxer in the world, but he's always dealing with those hands. Well, look, he's had surgery on that right hand. We see the scars. He says he's healed up. Deontay Wilder also had, I believe, issues with one of his hands. I believe, was it a hand or a forearm or something like that?
It was Deontay Wilder's situation was his hand, his right hand, I think.
And they put like a titanium plate in his hand because of how bad it was. What if Shakur Stevenson has a titanium plate put in that right hand?
Oh my goodness. In his knuckle?
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
I mean, hey,
we don't know what's in there. You know what I'm saying? And they're not going to tell us.
Clay, sir, with my job, I see all these plates and stuff. So, I mean, it's not like nothing crazy, but wow, that's crazy work, right?
Deontay God had one and it was legitimate. You know what I'm saying? In his right hand, a lot of people attribute a lot of that knockout energy, to that plate. I don't think it was all about. I think he just punches hard as hell. But listen, man, if that right hand is sturdy because of that plate, we might see Schofield get pieced up and get get put on his pockets. You know what I mean? Or even stop, a towel get thrown in for him if the ass whooping becomes too one-sided, right?
Yeah, right,
man. What do you think about Floyd Schofield and this whole passport thing, about this page being missing from his passport and to get there?
You want my honest opinion, or you just want me to say what I think about their conversation?
I mean, whatever. Yeah, the honest opinion.
Conversation, because I don't want to be disrespectful to any of these dudes, bro.
Yeah.
Listen, it is what it is. Shout out to Here for Boxing who just joined us in the building. Yeah, man. I think that's crazy work. You know what I mean? Like, if sometimes things like that happen, you know what I mean? If you really wanted to be there, what was your situation? Because you usually get a notice of this ahead of time. It usually takes about I don't know where you're at, but I know it takes us when we go through the state to get our passports. It usually takes us about anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to get a passport once you get your picture and stuff taken. So
you can get it done fast. You can pay the extra money and get it done in like 72 hours, bro.
Well, there you go. So look, even better, right? So then he had plenty of time, right? They live in a mansion. They got the money to do so, and I'm pretty sure he's traveled to other places. You know what I mean? He ain't just sitting at home in Texas all day. Well, they always look like sitting at home, so it is what it is. But at the end of the day, like that was an opportunity for you. You know what I mean? This is your name going on a grand stage. What are you willing to do to get on that stage? Were you worried about, you know what I mean, what was coming back and the backlash? Because I think it's more the father, to be honest with you. Getting the backlash from all the constituents in boxing, all the managers and the dads and the other boxers telling him he talked too much or something actually bad happening. But it wasn't that type of event. It was a very gentlemanlike affair. And I think Schofield was just like, you know what, we just going to sit this one out. You know what I mean? We'll pay respects to and give them the respect, for inviting us. But we're going to sit this out. We're going to deal with what we got to do with over here. we'll relax, and then we'll go and deal with other things as it pertains to boxing, because we're going over to Saudi Arabia, and I don't think I want to pay for 2 trips. You know what I mean, over across this pond, but we just pay for 1. So let's just chill out, and then we'll just deal with it when it's time to go. That's why, I mean, ultimately, that's how I think they were trying to push it. So
it looks like Floyd Jr. is convinced that it was an inside job. He feels like it was diabolical. It wasn't by chance. Right now he's pointing the fingers, which I don't even understand how, but he's pointing the fingers towards like Shakur Stevenson's team, like being able to somehow infiltrate, get at his passport, do something to the passport to basically stop him from coming out to this press conference. Now, Shakur's already spoken on and said, yeah, bro, I'm in England, bro. I don't know. Like, Shakur has no, I believe him. He has no idea what he's talking about. Maybe somebody in his team working on his behalf without telling him. I don't know. I'm wondering, how could they even get to your passport? That's something that should be in your home in a safe somewhere. You know, important people should only have access to that. Me personally, my wife, between me and my wife, that's it. Like, nobody should, I couldn't fault. If something happened to my passport, I'm going to either blame it on my wife or I'm going to take the blame for it, because there's no way nobody's supposed to be able to get to my passport.
Exactly.
He seems to believe somebody outside the camp did this. It's crazy. But I'll tell you what it does say to me is that he wanted to be out there. So for whatever reason that he's not out there, it's not because of him. It's because of his team. More than likely his father, right? More than likely Senior got his hands involved in this to a certain situation. And maybe Senior is acknowledging the fact that he has a Junior where he needs him mentally. He wants to make sure he keeps him there, and he doesn't want his son to get thrown off by Shakur Stevenson's antics or saying crazy stuff, or maybe the big lights and the big show in England, all the questions. Senior seems to have a hard time allowing Junior to speak. And it just seems like every single time Schofield Jr. gets an opportunity to do an interview or share some information, here comes Senior, altering and getting involved in the conversation and doing certain things. I can't help but to believe Junior being in England doing his press conference, when you looked on that stage, you didn't see trainers really on the stage with their fighters, right? You saw the promoters and you saw the fighters. And Junior was going to be on that stage by himself. He was going to have a lot, you know, that England boxing media, that UK boxing media is thorough, right? They're very trained, well-trained. Most of them have degrees. They're doing this. They know how to ask the certain questions. They're going to ask certain questions, and they're going to be a little bit more in Junior's face, and they're probably not going to be allowing Senior to really intervene as much as he did. You think it's possible that Senior?
Good point, True.
Huh? You think
what True said? That's a good point.
No, I see what True said. Yeah, you think so? You think Schofield Senior might have something to do with the condition of that passport and Floyd Jr.'s ability to go to that press conference?
Man, he didn't want to be. I'm telling you, Schofield Senior didn't want to be in that crowd, bro. He didn't want to be out there because I'm telling you, he ran his mouth so much. He don't want to be around people in the industry. You know what I mean? That he basically belittled. And why would he? You know what I mean? You didn't make friends. You made enemies. And your son is out here trying to promote his career and trying to get his name out there.
Wow.
And you're stopping him from doing that. And yes, he is. You're right. His father is. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that has a problem with England. I think that's like Australia, right?
Some places traveling might be an issue. Not to mention, you never know. You never know.
That's a good point. James Anderson, salute. Yeah.
Salute, James. Wait, I agree with what you say, man. Yeah, man, it's interesting. You know what I mean? Clay, you nailed it. Senior for sure mess with that passport to stop the son from traveling. I'm saying that because of the strength of how Senior's always been with Junior. Whatever happened to that passport, I'm very reluctant to believe that Shakur Stevenson put money up with some cat woman type skill set burglar that broke into the window of the house silently while they were sleeping, got a hold of the passport, ripped out the signature page, made out of the house with it, and nobody noticed. And I'm not really trying to jump into no conspiracy theory like that. I'm more so the kind of person where if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. What's in front of me is what I take into consideration, not all the things that I can't even wrap my mind around how it came to be.
Mm-hmm.
The person who had access to this passport book clearly was somebody close to the family. Schofield Jr. made it clear he didn't have the passport. The passport didn't get ripped in his hands. He doesn't seem like he lives with his father still. And, Schofield Sr. is always emphasizing on the idea that his son's frontal cortex, his global cortex. I can't even say the word, but he's always basically saying that this kid is not, what is it, babe? The frontal lobe cortex. My wife's a nurse, so it is what it is. The frontal lobe cortex of this kid is not developed. Basically saying this kid is not really ready to think on his own. How comfortable would he have been to have Junior out there dealing with that press on a big show like that?
Right.
I don't think it's far-fetched that he's taking that into consideration. This is the huge leap forward for Schofield Jr. Huge. This is way different than his last fight to this fight. The press, the kind of media that's going to be in front of him, the cameras. Turkey al-Sheikh putting this, you already know the whole week was an event. Shakur landed like 3 days before the event even happened. They were catching him at the airport. He's in the mall walking around. Social media is on him. Hey, what's up, Conor Ben? People talking to him. And like you said, the confrontation from all the different people that Schofield Sr. has pushed back at, even with that video of him going through with his girlfriend that went viral, that the content creation space put on blast, he was going to get confronted on that. You know what I mean? Or at least a good chance he was going to get confronted on that. You know what I mean? About it. And they probably just wanted to keep the kid out the way of that, just to mentally keep him where he's at right now, wanting to be a killer. Because shout out to Boxing Source. I don't know if you're in the building, Boxing Source, but if you are, salute to you. He did a great interview. One of the best interviews I think that's been done on the Schofields. He did a real good job interviewing them. But he asked him a question. I'm trying to remember what he asked him and what Senior said. During that interview, noticing that Junior was so focused, I'm going to break him apart. He seemed to be really past the silliness of it all. And it just seemed like he was in the right place mentally about what he's going to do in this fight. He gets thrown off if he goes to this press conference, in my opinion.
Absolutely. And not to mention, as you touched on earlier, the point that if Schofield goes out there, he will be distracted. He will be in a part of a different, because there's a different demographic of boxing, right? Now you're up here with the champ. You're up here with the people that's been headlining. You're coming up to your contender stage from prospect, and now you're in the limelight. You made it to the big show, right? So now you're here, and what do? Now you got to worry, like I said, you got to worry about his dad, all the burnt bridges that he has, him saying the wrong thing, him being in the wrong atmosphere. Radio Raheem, shout out to Radio Raheem. You know he ain't going to let that question slide without getting out there. Yo, what do you think about this guy? What you said about this? Blah, blah, blah. How'd that happen? You know what I mean? How's your legal issue? Because he don't bet from no questions. So you know that would have came up, and you know that would have been an uncomfortable situation. Now you got his son that's going to be like, okay, look, what's going on while we're talking about this? You should be shining on me. Now we got my dad in the spotlight, and we're here at this event. A lot of distractions ready to happen. What's up, ATB Combat Media in the building?
Yeah, that's me.
Us. I know, that's us.
Oh, it's us. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I threw that up there, is what I was saying.
I know, I got you. All right, yeah, no doubt. But yeah, man, I just wanted to say, man, absolutely, this is that was a big pull, and it should have been recognized for what it was. And just don't give some weird stories, bro. Just say, yo, we didn't feel like going. You know what I mean? We have some things we got to work on. We want to stay focused on the fight. Fair enough. We can move on from that. All that extra stuff, passports and other contents. I
don't fault him too, Ray. I ain't gonna lie. I don't fault him as well because, I mean, why admit it if I don't have to? I don't need to admit that there's some intimidation there and that my son it's bad enough that his own promoters call him a prospect. You know what I'm saying? And that the main narrative getting pushed around here is that Floyd Schofield is out of his league and he shouldn't be in this ring yet. It's way too early for his career. Mm-hmm. Now I give into it by saying he's not experienced enough to deal with a press conference or deal with media in his face. That doesn't help his argument about him being ready for this big show. Maybe the page being ripped out the passport might have been the best way to kind of angle to be like, oh, we definitely wanted to be there. We were going to be there, but our paperwork was messed up.
Right. But let's check it, Clay. So that is the case, right? Let's just say that is the case. What have you been doing this whole time on YouTube? Practicing for the big spotlight, right? What have you been doing?
Has Junior been practicing or Senior? Because Junior can't get a word in.
That's my point, right? So you've been in front of this spotlight. So what are you afraid of? You didn't want to be there for the reason you didn't need to be there, because you're afraid of what's going to come with the backlash and how people are going to feel about your dad, or not you feel about your dad, how your dad's going to feel about himself amongst peers of yours that just don't like him. It is what it is.
Right. It's gonna be interesting, man. I can see that Junior is focused though. He's on kill mode. You can see it in his face. You can tell he's been training hard. But all I hear him saying is, I'm gonna hurt this kid. I'm gonna break his ribs. I'm gonna break his jaw. I'm gonna knock him out. He's never been hit as hard as I'm gonna hit him. Is that his best? Is that the approach? Is that what you want to see from Schofield going into this fight? Is his mentality aligning with the right strategy in your opinion?
I mean, it is who he is, right? And as long as he has that mentality, what does that tell us from we see him from previous fights? He's not going to listen to his corner.
Right.
That's what it says. It says that he's going to go in there. He's going to be an aggressive fighter. He's going to be clever. He's talking like Clever Lang, but he's going to fight like Drago. He's going to go in there and just try to kill this guy. He's not going to utilize any skill sets that he has, anything he's developed, anything he's worked on. All he's going to do is see bread, and he's just going to be like a bull, and he's going to charge. And like I said, Shakur going to be waiting for that, and he's going. And listen, man, it's a bad opportunity to get put out. And if that's what you want, that's what you're going to get. But you know what I mean? Just be careful. I'm saying.
Yeah. Senior said he cleared the whole camp team out. How's he getting quality training? Bad approach, in my honest opinion. I agree with you, 2 cents. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I think it's bad and good. I think Schofield is limited to what he can do. If he tries to fight Shakur Stevenson on Shakur Stevenson's level, he's gonna get devastated, man. He's not gonna be able to compete or keep up with Shakur Stevenson at what Shakur Stevenson does. I think his best bet is to overwhelm him and hit him with shots and kind of make it unorthodox, kind of force Shakur to get into a fight that's not as organized and paced out as Shakur would like it to be, and hopefully get a mistake out of him. The odds are against him. He just hasn't fought the kind of opponents that are going to prepare him for a fight like this. You know what I mean? He hasn't fought these boxers that would put him in this conversation. He's fought boxers. He's been winning fights. He hasn't been winning boxing matches lately. Like his last 3 to 5 fights. Am I bugging? Right? Like he hasn't boxing as much as fighting.
Right. And I'm going to tell you exactly what it's going to look like. And you ready for this? It's going to look like when Victor Ortiz fought Floyd Mayweather. He came in there being super aggressive, trying to just, you know what I mean, be super, let me just punch this guy. He'd give him a chance not to swing back. And he's just going to try to do that, and it's going to look bad. And then it's going to end up being bad for you, bro, because bad things are going to happen in this fight unintentionally and then become intentional. And bad things are going to happen from it. Just, it is what it is. Hey, listen, that's why they fight the fight, man. Yeah, what's up, Ross Scott?
Salute, Ross Scott. What's good, family? What's good,
Can y'all hear me?
Scott? Yeah, we hear you. Yep.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, definitely. What's going on with you, brother?
I got like a bad connection or something. Hold on.
Well, we hear you clear. I don't know if you're hearing us, but we hear you.
Oh, okay. Now I can hear y'all.
Okay.
Hey, so what is people? So is people saying that that Schofield is not ready for Shakur?
Well,
some people are saying
how ready can he be at the end of the day, but they're basically speaking towards the whole entire passport situation, him not showing up to the press conference in England. Oh yeah, we're going to talk about that. You're right, Secret Dance. We're going to talk about that too. But basically saying this whole passport, him saying that the signature page in the passport was legitimately ripped out of the passport, right? And he's saying it to the point that he believes it was foul play. He doesn't believe it was by accident. He doesn't believe it was bad luck. He believed there's foul play there. The signature page was ripped out of the passport. He didn't have enough time to get a new passport to replace that one. And he believes that this was some sort of plot to stop him from coming out to the press conference to play with his head, but he's not going to let him throw him off. But it's just kind of like the court paid somebody to like get at your passport and rip a page out. Like, how did they get to your passport? That's like your wallet. Like, who got a hold of your wallet, did something to it, and put it back in your pocket?
Yeah, that sound like Cap. Yeah, that sound like Cap, man. I don't know what that's going on with that.
Right. So,
Yeah, but I mean,
I was about to put my aluminum foil hat on my head, right? And say, well, look, if somebody did rip it out, I believe that there may have been foul play, but who did the foul play is the question. Is it more than likely Shakur Stevenson's team who put together the pieces to do the foul play, or is it somebody inside of his camp that, for whatever reason, didn't want him to go to that press conference?
That's a hell of a mind game.
Yeah,
that's a hell of a mind game.
My full hat off my head, but just to say, at the end of the day, though, the way you see Schofield Sr. always involved in Schofield Jr.'s media, he's always in there, overtaking the whole entire interview. How comfortable do you think Sr. would have been to have Jr. on that huge stage up there without him? Just with Jr. on that stage, dealing with Shakur, throwing shots at him, questioning his experience, questioning his confidence, questioning his abilities, questioning whether he's supposed to even be there or not. How confident do you think he would have been of Jr. to execute that in a way that didn't affect his confidence when it was all said and done?
Yeah, he wouldn't be. I don't think he'd be confident at all because the father seems to do all the talking. So, that's just what they got going on. That's their plan. A lot of these dads is doing all the talking for their kids.
Right.
So, what I'm saying? That's how they copying Danny Garcia's father's blueprint. I'm gonna do all the talking so that all the criticisms could come to me and not my kid, the fighter. Right. And it works. Sometimes it works. You know what I'm saying? So, I think in this situation, I think maybe they just couldn't get it. They just couldn't get the passport, so they playing these games. Who knows?
Yeah, man. Listen, man, it's whatever it takes, man. Schofield needs whatever edge he can get, whatever, he needs to keep that mentality. When I seen him do that interview with the Boxing Source, I saw a very confident kid. I saw somebody who's training hard, somebody who you could tell in his face he's not even smiling that much. He's focused on hurting Shakur, stopping Shakur. He thinks he can do it. He knows that's the game plan, and he's a very confident, mean-looking dude. I mean, yeah. For all intents purposes, don't get his. Let's keep the psychology. Not allow him to lose this fight on a press conference. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel like he's not ready, and most of us do think that. But at the end of the day, if he feels like he's ready, that if he loses, that's on him. You know what I mean? This is the dad is like, look, we getting a nice little paycheck. This is a win-win situation. Let's get it on. If you go back back in the days, Salvador Sanchez, when he fought Azuma Nelson, had only 13 pro fights. He only had 13 pro fights, and that was a replacement. Can you imagine a replacement fighter is Azuma freaking Nelson? That's who your replacement is. We don't got that today. But what I'm saying is he was on his 13 pro fights, and that fight was super competitive. You know what I'm saying? It ended in the 14th round. Now imagine if that wasn't a late replacement and Azuma was fully trained for that fight. Ain't no telling how that fight would have went. You feel me? But what I'm saying is, if a fighter like that back then fighting somebody like Salvador Sanchez could do it, these fighters today who supposedly more advanced and bigger and stronger and faster, they should be able to do it too. So I'm not buying that he ain't ready crap. Forget that. You ready, you want to fight him, get it in. And if you lose to Shakur, it is what it is.
Right. And let's look at it this way too, Ross Scott. I agree with you 1,000%. And I also said that this is the best learning tool. You're going to find out where you are in your stage of your career. You're fighting a champion. You're fighting one of the best that we have in our era. Right, especially at your division. So if you lose, you know where you stand. You know where your line is. You know where you have to build yourself up to. You can't move backwards from that point, right? Only thing you take is a loss, and you got a full career ahead of you because you're young. So I understand, man. Being a hungry lion is what it is, man. Let him go out there and get in that square circle. And let's see what he got, because he has an opportunity, right? It only takes one punch, so always an opportunity. So. You know what I mean? He believes in himself. He believes in the way he hits and punches. So, you know what I mean? The opportunity is there. I agree with you.
Yeah, no, 100% I agree with you. I'm excited to see this fight. I love that Schofield stepping out. and wanting to test himself on this level. This is a big opportunity for him. It's a big payday. Worst case scenario, you lose. If you lose, you're losing against one of the future pound for pound best fighters in the sport, what a lot of people would consider the best IQs and best defensive fighters in the space right now. You lose this fight, you didn't lose against some Rudy Tootie two-putt, you know what I'm saying, prospect that just took you out. Best derailed by Shakur Stevenson than allowing Abdullah Mason to piece you up, or allowing $1 million Vargas to take advantage of you, or getting somebody who you probably should be fighting against before you fight.
Right. And it's one of them things too. It might be like a learning lesson type fight, like with Canelo. Like this generation, when somebody loses, but boxing fans think it's the end of the world when it's not like that.
Right.
He could lose. For all we know, Schofield could lose this fight and really learn so much out of this fight. You feel me? Like, you know what I mean? Like, so to me, I like it. I don't mind the fight at all. I think as long as he don't fight like De Los Santos and really try to engage and chase the guy, hey, we gonna be in for a good fight. Hopefully we get that.
I'm with that.
I'm definitely hoping for that, man. Like Shakur said, he's hungry. He's hungry. He's young. He wants to do something. He's gonna fight hard. You know what I mean? He's gonna fight real hard, bro. And that's for a fan of boxing. If you guys don't know what makes great fights, these type of things turn into great fights. Fight of the year candidates. These are the kind of fights that turn into those fights, because you got a lot of heart, but then you got obviously the IQ and the skill set and experience with Shakur Stevenson, but you got a lot of heart and want to. And this kid can box. He's not a sucker. He's been boxing ever since he was like 8 years old, from what I understand, 7 years old. You know what I mean? He has experience. He used to spar and get all these guys ready for the biggest fights. He has the ability. The problem that he's going to have to overcome is going to be the wisdom, right? He has the knowledge based off of what he's learned, but the wisdom, which is the application of the knowledge, is going to be where Floyd Schofield excels or falls short in this fight, and ultimately takes his first loss. It's going to be his ability to apply everything he knows in the heat of the battle. So it is what it is. So let me get right to it, because I'm sure you have a lot to share on it, Ross Scott. This is not your cup of tea, so I'm sure you're going to start it off pretty bad, but then we'll actually get some information. What do you think about this Terrence Crawford? I
mean, the way I look at it, man, listen, this is Crawford's first time fighting at 168. They're both, let's be real, both of them is past their prime, right? Both of them didn't look too good in their last outing. Like, we all expected Canelo to stop Berlinga, stop Munguia. It didn't happen. Madrimov and Canelo was competitive. To me, this is just a big guy past his prime versus a younger guy. I mean, a smaller guy that's pretty much past his prime. Like, let's be real, Crawford is not at his best either. So I'm looking at this like this is a Floyd and Manny all over again, and we're just gonna see one guy fighting off the back foot, gonna try to pot shot to a victory, and whoever wins, fans gonna be saying it was a robbery. That's what I see.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I could definitely see that, right? But more so, like, look, man, if there's ever a Canelo that Terrence could beat, it'll be this one. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy who's not as athletic and everything he's always been. He's as strong as he's ever been, because that's the last thing to go. But this is a fight for if Terrence is going to win it, this is the version of Canelo. You know what I'm saying? That he probably wants to fight again.
No, that's a fact. But the thing is, if you fight like Laura, if you fight in there like Charlo, right? Like they're not gonna give you a victory. Right. Like, you can't beat Canelo that way. You know what I mean? Like Crawford is pretty much, in my opinion, is probably gonna fight like Charlo, but gonna have a little bit more output. Because you gotta be busy. You can't, like I said, if we go back to the Laura fight, right? Like, fans always say to this day, oh, he got robbed, he lost that fight. You can't beat Canelo by not throwing punches. It's you're not gonna win. Right. So, that's why Munguia fight looked the way it looked. Their plan was to stay busy. Stay busy. You gotta be busy with Canelo. You feel me? Right. You got to be busy with him. And I don't know if Crawford is going to be that. He wasn't busy against freaking Madrimov. And all Madrimov did was freaking feint.
Well, that makes you not busy, though, Ross Scott. Like, the feinting makes you uneasy. Canelo's not going to be over feinting. He's not Madrimov. He's not going to be doing the IQ thing. He's going to be doing, I'm the bigger fighter. I'm the stronger fighter. I'm going to overwhelm you. I'm going to walk you down. I'm going to put this pressure on you. He's going to fight Terrence the way Terrence thought Madrimov was going to fight him.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
You're right. Madrimov threw Terrence off with the you know what I'm saying? He threw him off and kind of froze Terrence a little bit, like, damn, but this dude's really doing a bunch of stuff we didn't prepare for. So I don't know. I mean, I think we'll see. I guarantee you, and I am a Terrence Crawford fan, I guarantee you he's not going to fight Canelo Alvarez the way Charlo did.
I could disagree with this, though. We don't know what Canelo's going to work on. We don't know what changes he will make in approach of, we can't just assume that he's going to be
make changes. He loses because of the changes. He better not make changes. That's going to be his downfall.
Hey, I mean, he was a guy that hopped around and did what he had to do when he needed to. When he stepped on the gas with Bivol because he made the adjustments in the ring, he made the fight more competitive. So, I mean, it's very possible that, we know Canelo knows how to box. We know he knows how to use his feet. It's just he doesn't, because he doesn't have to with a lot of fighters. So if he's going to be comfortable, he's going to stay there, and he feels that he's behind, he's going to make the adjustments. And we may see a different Canelo, a different approach. But, kudos to both fighters. Like I said, so if this fight happens, man, kudos to both of them. I definitely give them accolades. This is legacy. This is really what a legendary fight is of our era. This is the biggest fight we can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, but Rod Scott, man, I don't want to get around the original question, because this question wasn't about no damn Terrence Crawford and no damn Canelo Alvarez.
What's up?
I want to know what you think about Terrence Crawford and Tank Davis going at it on Twitter. That's what the question is. We ain't getting around that. That's what we talk about. We talk about the
man.
We talk about the chatty patty, the drama, the shock jockey shit going on in boxing right now. We talking about that right now. The Rudy Tooty, Fresh and Fruity, Love and Hip Hop page of boxing right now.
Yeah.
He won't say nothing.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't really following it.
I know you wasn't. I'm not gonna let you get out of it, so I'll tell you what happened. Bro. Let me get you up to speed, bro. So what happened is Terrence Crawford basically called Gervonta Tank Davis out on how upset he was with all his tweets going against everybody who showed up for the Turkey Al-Sheikh Ring Magazine award gala, and basically saying that all these guys over there are a bunch of nut huggers, and that they were over there kissing the ring, and it would never be him. He makes all his money here in America. He doesn't need to go over there to get his biggest paydays. And Terrence Crawford basically responded after he went on this long rant and basically said, damn, it looks like somebody's mad they weren't invited. You know what I'm saying? And this started this whole entire head-to-head clash on Twitter between Terrence Crawford and Gervonta Tank Davis, where Tank is throwing shots at Terrence's legacy, Terrence's history, Terrence's resume, Terrence's wife, Terrence's kids. He's just attacking Terrence on every front that he can attack him on. Terrence is laughing and basically, throwing shots back at him. But what do you think about Gervonta Tank Davis's indifference with what Turkey Al-Sheikh is putting on over there about seeing Terrence get opportunities over there, seeing Shakur finding out that fighters that didn't necessarily and weren't necessarily able to find opportunities here are finding it over there? What do you think about Tank's approach to it?
Well, I think with that whole Turkey situation, because they know that Canelo and Crawford is about to make a lot of money, and I think it's hurting their ego, right? So, like, you got to understand, Tank Davis and everybody around his team, including his fans, think he's the face of boxing, but he's not the face of boxing. We all know that Canelo was the face of boxing, and if it was, and I hate to say it, probably Jake Paul is second behind Canelo. You understand what I'm saying? And I think they just upset. And once again, like Ray Davis touched on it earlier, he got a fight coming up. He got to get that attention put on him. That's the only way you can sell a Lamont Roach.
Right.
Let's be real. That's controversy is the only way to sell it, and it's not going to sell like we think it's going to sell. That's what I believe.
And I think that's the worst way of selling your fight, man. Like I said, you're going to sell your fight. You sell your fight based on you. If you're really the guy that everybody says you are, you enough should be able to sell your fight. You should not have to dig in and reach across the pond and other people and other constituents in your sport to really throw shade at them to big yourself up better than them to fight a guy that you're not even mentioning in your comments, in your conversation. You're just talking about yourself. And yo, to me, that's just nasty work. It doesn't make sense. It's cringeworthy, musty energy. Anybody else says something crazy out there? Diabolical. Yes, I'm going with all the content creators. Salute to all y'all out there. Because I just use all y'all catchphrases because it's crazy to do that, bro.
Yeah, it is. I agree with that. Because like I said, at the end of the day, this is a fight that nobody wanted to see. I mean, it'd be better off if he did fought a prospect like what Shakur is doing, for Christ's sakes. Like, what are we doing over here? Like, what y'all got a DMV beef? Like, with that, settle that in a sparring session somewhere. Like, it just doesn't make no sense, man. Hey, it is what it is, man. That's Tank. That's what he do. Right. He fight the easy fights.
The crazy part of this wild part is that the Schofield is the number 2 guy in his belt, under his safety.
I know.
That's crazy. So you talk about Shakur, he should have took that fight. Everybody's telling him he should have took that fight. You know what's crazy? Schofield's making more, and I hate to throw this out there, with Shakur than Lamont is making with Tank, right? And Tank is the payday. So that's crazy to say that.
I don't know if that's true.
I think so. Because we're looking at back end, right?
I think Lamont's getting like 1 point.
I thought he was getting 750,000.
That's what I heard too, but somebody else told me he's getting 1 point something. I don't know their business.
I mean, it'll come out. We'll be able to check later.
Yeah. No doubt.
That's just crazy.
I don't know how much money they making, but hey, it is what it is, man. But hey, you got those boxing channels out there that's happy that Lamont Roach and getting paid, and I don't care about none of that. I want to see the best fight the best or close to it, and this ain't it.
No, it ain't it. And selling it is going to be an uphill battle. It's been an uphill battle clearly to sell this fight and make this fight the big show that everybody always affiliates Tank Davis with. It's going to be difficult to sell this one, man. Definitely me personally, it's definitely going to be. It's impossible to sell it. But
hey y'all, I'm about to jump off, man. I gotta get back in this gym. I'm training somebody.
All right,
I'll see y'all. All right, later.
And Clay, make it so funny. Our sets, which are mediocre, looks better than their sets in their 2 press conferences.
That's crazy. That's diabolical. That's crazy. It is what it is. But I saw you post something up here talking about Ryan Garcia announced.
I just got it. You want the link?
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I don't know if it's official. I'm just here. I'm just going by what I see.
That Michael Benson account. I know that.
No. It's not. It's somebody who always gets legitimate information. So I'm just going to tell you, they always speak on stuff. And when they speak on it, it's usually it usually comes to fruition.
That makes sense. That's good for Devin. Devin needs a tune-up, man. He needs to fight somebody. He fights somebody serious, not no whack person. But I think he should get a tune-up before he gets in with Ryan. But it is what it is, right?
Yeah. I just dropped the link to you.
5v5 between Oscar and Eddie Hearn's going to be in June.
Right.
That's crazy. We got some cards. God, ladies and gentlemen, we have some cards coming up.
Crazy work, right? So
Jesus.
If Boots gets this fight coming up in let's just say March, April, he can make that fight in June with the Virgil Ortiz to clean up whatever's going on. But that's if they get that fight done in time.
Yeah.
I'm not going to break the news. I don't know if it's official, so I don't want to break anything. I don't like putting stuff out there unless it's, what I mean? It's cool. I actually wrote it in the chat, but, it ain't really breaking news. Something that we already had the information about, but it's cool.
Yeah, no doubt. At this point.
I mean, until I get official information, we'll see.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. Man. That'll be a good fight, though. Ryan and Tio will be a huge fight. Big money fight. Tio finally get his big his big fight that he needs to become a pay-per-view star. Right. He gets to be involved in something good. It is what it is. Appreciate what you bring to the boxing culture, Clay. Salute. Hey, salute to you, China Brims, chin strap. Okay. Salute to you. Salute to you, man.
And shout out to our constituent champ side with what he says. Sources say, you know what I mean? And shout out to him with his little rap song or his little intro now. You know what I mean?
I'm happy he's proud of it, and I'm happy he's, you know what I mean, I won't knock it. That's a good, you know, that's him doing his thing. All right, it ain't my thing.
Yeah. Shout out.
It ain't there for me yet, but it's ill though that he put it together. It's his.
Yeah.
I don't have one, so I ain't gonna say nothing crazy. But
that's what I say. Give him, you know what I mean? He doing his thing, man.
It was good. Shout out, Champs. I love the channel, love the content over there for sure. At all times, baby. At all times, baby. I heard he got a little press pass or something like some credentials for the Super Bowl. So he's doing some big things over there, without a doubt.
Yes, he is, man. You know that.
So what's up, Rich? Let's go, family.
Man, what's going on, Clay and Ray? Chat.
We're doing good, man. We just building on this box space where we at this point with everything that's out there. You see what's on the front screen, so I don't know if you care to talk about that. Feel free to tap into anything you feel like tapping into. Boxing preferably, but this seems to be the hottest topic right now across the space. Is Tank and Terrence going at it on the Twitter space, as Tank is doing everything he can to tear down anything affiliated with Turki Al-Sheikh. He seems to be triggered to attack it.
Yeah, I'd say I'll start with this, man. The things that I noticed, because I'm kind of watching it play out, and I think this is the first time that Tank realizes that the boxing universe no longer revolves around him. You see, it's like being a musical artist. You know, he had 6 years at the 6-7 years at the top, and he really didn't do anything with it. You see, he played keep away, or at least the PBC, they played keep away. And now it's new blood in the game. It's new money in the game. And now people are realizing that the money don't, now I'm not saying Tank don't generate money, but it don't just, revolve around him. It's revolving around Turki Al-Sheikh, and he got way more money. So I think for Tank, this is the first time he realized he's on the outside looking in. And I said this months back that eventually that was going to happen, that he was going to be on the outside and everybody else was going to link up together.
I agree with you 100%.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say I agree with you 100%. I've also been saying it and pushing it and saying, listen, man, it's going to get to a point where boxing's going to move on without you, man. I think it was Oscar De La Hoya who was talking. There was a time when Terrence Crawford was talking about wanting a spot at the table. And I didn't agree with Oscar De La Hoya's position on this 100%, but I understood where he's coming from when he basically said that these fighters shouldn't be focused on business so much and all these other things when they're in the prime time in their careers, because it's a very athletic thing in the sport, especially when you're talking about the lightweights, the junior welterweights, the welterweights, and that middle ground is like a very athletic category of fighter. And your athletic abilities, you have like a 3 to 5 year window of your best years, right? Of like when you're the best version of yourself. And it's important that you capitalize on that moment in time, take your biggest fights in that time period to your most competitive driven fights that you're competing at the highest level you can compete at. And it seems like Tank is kind of looking back at those years a little bit, right? Or he might be there right now. You know what I mean? Like if he takes on these fights right now, this may be the best version of him, right? On that take advantage of, but he seems so unmotivated to do that. It just seems like it's going to be a horrible story, right? It seems like it's going to be a story with a horrible background to it. You're just like, damn, this kid had the chance to do all these things. It just never did it. Wasted talent. You know what I mean? And now Turki's providing a lane for all these other fighters that are in his genre, that is in his era, and they don't need to chase him around no more. They're not as eager or excited or as thirsty to get a Tank Davis paycheck. They found other ways to make money and still do things for their legacy.
Exactly. And I think a lot of people, I think, miss the fact that they're not looking at this too. It's someone missing from that PBC equation that really made it go, and that's Floyd Mayweather. He seemingly had distanced himself from the PBC. You see what I mean? And I think without Floyd Mayweather, the ship just won't go. It won't go without him.
Right. He said he was the PBC, right? That was his words.
Yeah. Hey, but look, I just want to chime in for a minute. I got to go. I'll be in the chat.
Okay. Okay. No doubt. Little team, what's good, fam?
What's
What
up,
up,
bro? How
bro?
you, man? Long time no speak, man.
Long time no see for sure, man. How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Me and Ray talk every day.
For sure.
And I've been saying for a minute, and everything out to manifest itself. People told me I was dumb, I was stupid, I was making stuff up. I said the writing was on the wall the moment Turkey, Bob, Oscar, and Eddie all joined up. I said the writing was on the wall for Tank. Some people said no, it's for Canelo too. I said no, it's not for Canelo. One person is for Javante Davis, and it's going to start slowly showing itself as the months and the year goes by. And everybody's over at one promotion. Turkey Al Sheik. I mean, for better or for worse, we just gonna say it's one promotion, one team, uh, on the umbrella. And I wouldn't even say that PBC is the odd man out because the PBC is doing business with Riyadh Season. It's one person who refuses to, and that's why the retirement talk is happening. He does not want to fight on the Turkey card because of the requirements of do. He doesn't want to fight Shakur. He doesn't want to fight Devin Haney. He does not want to fight Teofimo Lopez. He doesn't want to. And the PBC is trying to send him over there so they can make some money off of his back, and he refuses to help them out. He doesn't want to do it, so he'd rather. Tank has nothing left after this. What, he's going to fight Gary Russell off of a 4-year layoff and a loss? Who's next? Who do you have? You can't fight Chris Colbert. If you fight Rayo, you got to pull him down, and you're going to get frowned upon for that. There's nobody left at 130. There's nobody at 35 in your fight. Who's left? It's Turkey. It's Turkey or public criticism. It's one or the other. You're going to get bombed on for the next opponent.
Right.
If he's not significantly better than Lamont Roach, it's not going to be accepted.
Yeah, I think there's without a doubt here for boxing, there's pressure there. And what you're seeing is the reaction to the pressure. The pressure is you got to make these bigger fights, especially on the back end of a retirement, of talking about you're going to retire. Now there's not even no time. If you didn't talk about retirement, people would be like, oh, maybe it'll happen next year. Maybe it'll happen at the end of the year. But people understand right now, it's going to change the narrative that every fight you fight is a fight closer to your retirement. And as those fights are going by and they're not the names that are on that list, it's getting more and more diabolical out here in the boxing streets. People are holding you accountable. They're holding you to the words. And I'll be honest with you, it's a lot of this, I think, aligns with why Floyd Mayweather was so adamant about like muzzling it. You know what I'm saying? That Floyd Mayweather worked his tail off, not letting him speak for himself like that, because he didn't want him writing checks he wasn't going to cash. He didn't want him saying too much. He didn't want that language barrier in the street, the street vernacular and the anger and the emotion and everything that triggered him to say certain things, put him in certain predicaments. And he's in a predicament.
I'm sorry, I thought you stopped. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's in predicaments now because of what he said. He gave a list. He said fighters he was going to fight. Now he's saying he's retiring. He's all the things that he says. The boxing space is listening closely, and they're throwing it back in his face at the right time. When he says something that kind of goes against it, or doesn't make sense, or doesn't align with what he said he was going to do, they're holding him accountable. And they're saying, "Yo, bro, what about this? What about that?" And he's having to go back. I never said this. And then people, what are you talking about? Here's a video. You saying this?
Right. So the thing with Tank is, I don't mean this in a disrespectful way. I don't think he's the brightest bulb in the box, but he's a forward thinker in the sense of, okay, how can I get ahead of not needing Turkey? Oh, let me just start beef with him. Let me just out of nowhere start criticizing everything he's doing, start going at him. So when they come at me and like, oh, go fight for Turkey. No, F him. I don't need him. Because he already set the stage for that attitude. You know what I'm saying? He already showed that I'm not going to deal with him. And you're beefing with somebody who doesn't even talk about you anymore. Interaction about the Ferraris and the 2 boxing gloves, it didn't happen, and that was it. I don't even think he brings the kid up no more. So you're going out of your way to beef with somebody who's not even worried about you, but you're just trying to get ahead of the storm of, okay, but why is Tank not dealing with him? Because you don't the guys that I named. You don't want to do it. Ray thinks that he does want to fight them guys. There is nothing about Tank that indicates that he wants to fight Shakur. They ask him about a Shakur fight. What has he done? Done more than you, nigga? What do you mean? Shakur can say that. Shakur can be like, what has Tank done? You can't say that about him.
I mean, even like the Paulie Malignaggi's of the space, and obviously Shakur Stevenson, and a lot of other people, man. I mean, even let me tell you something. Tim Bradley's a hilarious dude, right? Because where at one point you hear him kind of like giving respect to Tank. Like, yeah, Tank, yeah, I like what you're doing. If you pay attention to what Tim Bradley's doing, Tim Bradley's allowing Tank to leave the game. He's ushering.
Yeah.
He's not celebrating him. He's saying, "Oh yeah, man, you want to fight nobody? That's what's up, Tank. Oh, you want to retire? Yeah, man, retire. That's what to do.
And Tank
oh, you
thought
want to hit on Turkey?
And Tank thought Tim was giving him props. No, he's reverse psychology and you. Beat it.
Yes.
Go away. Go away.
That's what he's doing. He's saying
Tank is
what he's doing. Tim's like, oh man, you throwing shots at Turkey. That's right. But if that 150 million come across the table, you better not take it, Tank. You better not kiss the ring. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, I love it. Right here
but there's no.
But Tim is being sarcastic as hell. He's not celebrating this dude, bro.
Yeah,
right.
And Tank is at a crossroads, and all the guys that get, I'm not saying no names, but all you dudes who get on here every single day, caping and playing lawyer, he's going to make you look like an ass. He's already making you look like an ass. You see it. He's going to leave you all hanging and looking stupid. And after you hitch your wagon onto him and he leaves you high and dry by not fighting these fights, who are you going to hit yourself onto? There's nobody left.
100%.
You've attached yourself to a promotion and a fighter. When it merges with the other one that you hate so much, now what? What's left?
Yeah, no, Tim has been being sarcastic from day one. I noticed it immediately. I just smile every time I watch him talking. I smile, bro, because he's trolling Tank. He's trolling the fans. He's trolling everybody because that's what he's doing, and his channel is doing well. He's going up. He's going crazy. Everybody loves to see him speak because there's points when he's being serious, but when he's talking about certain things, you can kind of tell. If you just pay close attention to him, you can tell what he's doing. And what he's doing with Tank is he's like, all right, man, leave the game. Leave the game, bro. You don't want to be no more like the last couple of fights. Leave the game. I celebrate you. You've made money. You're taking care of your family. You don't care about legacy. You're playing the game the right way, bro. This is what you wanted. We're happy for you, bro. We'll see you when it's done.
Right.
So, and I'm supposed to believe that Usyk is stupid, Canelo stupid, Bud stupid, Devin, everybody's stupid except for Tank. Get the hell out of here. Tank is the only one who stands on principle. Tank is the only one with morals. Tank, y'all talk morals, and he's the only one standing for something. I don't even want to get into the personal stuff, but Tank don't got no goddamn morals. Tank on Twitter calling these girls, calling black women all type of ugly bitches on Twitter right at this moment. And then he deletes it a couple minutes later. He was calling these girls all types of ugly bitches because they called him short. Well, you are. Like you calling these girls bitches.
Let's not throw any more shots. I'm about to close it out myself. I got to get ready for other things I got going on. It's 4 o'clock.
Say no more.
10, 14, so for something. The time flying. We've been going on 2.5 hours. I appreciate everybody for showing up in the building. It is what it is.
Absolutely.
Look, man, boxing first, man. Boxing is great. Boxing is heading in a great place. We're heading into a new era. I'm happy to be one of the platforms, to be part of one of the platforms that's helping usher in the new era. We'll deal with the Tank fans that'll be upset. They'll be upset, but hopefully they'll come back full circle. You know, hopefully Tank leads them to the promised land and said, "Hey guys, man, put your guns down. Yo, let's make some big fights." Turkey told me I'll pay me a lot of money. We'll forgive you. I'm not gonna be like Tim. I won't throw it in your face that you were throwing shots. I'll be just so happy that you're in the biggest fights, man, and we'll celebrate at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Tank trying to hold out for that Ryan payday. He's not getting that payday. Turkey not paying for that.
Nah, I don't think so.
Ryan quit. Why would Turkey want that? He quit.
Turkey.
Ryan's fight with Turkey is most likely done.
I don't think he pays for it either. I ain't gonna lie. I don't think he pays for that fight either. Unless
Who
Ryan
want that fight for?
Unless Ryan pushes.
We saw Ryan quit against. Why would Turkey want to see him fight against the guy he quit?
Yeah.
He quit.
You know what's funny?
Nobody wants to see that garbage again.
I would die laughing if he does a Ryan and Dev rematch and gives them 150 million. That'd be really a statement put out there, unfortunately, but I don't see that happening either. I just thought that'd be like ironic. But no, man, listen, it's when he said that, it just shows that he's willing to take a deal. He's willing to chase the bag. He's willing to go over there and play ball with Turkey. He's just doing it at a cost. I think he threw the number out there because he's trying to pick his fight. Right, but that's what I'm saying. I think he's throwing the situation out there, the money, because Canelo threw a bag out there. You know what I mean? To say he will fight this guy or this guy for a certain price. And guess what? It worked a little bit in Canelo's favor. It didn't work a lot. but it's a big fight that they have going on. That's a legacy fight. Now you got to put your O on the table, and you got to go out there and fight somebody that we want to see you fight. That's what it comes down to. Whether they do it or not, we'll have to see. He said he wanted to go over there for 150, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a clear path to a payday with Tank and Turkey won it. But yeah, I ain't gonna hold you, Clay.
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's boxing, man. We love talking about it. It's hard to just walk away from a hot topic like this, you know.
Yeah.
We'll continue it tomorrow. See what happens. I'm sure more are going to be popping out in the Twitterverse. Boxing is alive and doing well, heading into a new era. Shout out to Secret Dance Move. Tomorrow we're going to build on that Steve Nelson, Diego Pacheco fight. It is a fight that I'm very interested in. I'm super interested in that fight. I think it holds a lot of weight, what goes on at 158 pounds at the end of this fight. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about everything boxing. I'll come up with some topics. We'll go with something to talk about.
Sure.
Shout out to everybody who showed up, everybody who popped up on the panel. Blue Ridge, Ross Clot. Shout out to Mill City, popped up. Shout out to LaRon Jones. Shout out to you, family. Secret Dance Move, the Libra. Salute to you, Teach. Everybody in the building, man.
Everything's watching, man. For your Frazier. Absolutely. You know, I'm good, Clay. Just thank everybody that just became a new member. I just go and give everybody membership to the channel, you know what I mean, and donations. Hopefully you guys enjoy that. And thank you for being a part of ATP, Baby Combat Media. Salute.
I ain't make it this far for myself, I had to prove to everybody else. I had to set them straight, I had to when you elevate, the second of losses, I'm handing them out, I had to go delegate. It feel like I'm floating, I'm lost in the moment, I swear I could levitate. They never believed that I would really fly, I had to go demonstrate. I had to set them straight. They hate when you elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, elevate. Yeah, they hate when you elevate, elevate. They hate when you elevate, yeah. I had to elevate. Ooh, yeah. Why they wanna put me down? So much drip, yeah, I almost drowned in it. I can't come it down, yeah, I'm way too fired up. I can't come it down. Ooh, yeah. I see the flashing lights, make sure the fashion right, yeah. I'm in my bag tonight, yeah. Ooh, I might just pull up before it. Watch out, the engine is roaring. It's too loud, you can ignore it. Yeah. This that high.